Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today. My name is Alex Coop, and I'm the Global Head of Sales here at Legaltech Hub, and I'll be your host for this afternoon session. We have a fantastic few hours ahead of you, and so let's get straight into it. So what is the EMEA Demo Dozen? I'm sure you're all wondering. Well, the EMEA Demo Dozen is a live interactive showcase brought to you by Legaltech Hub and our partner Afriwise. Normally 12, but today 11 legal tech solutions, each given a dedicated time to show exactly what they do. No sales pitch, padding, just the product in action. Today's session is built specifically for law firms, whether you're exploring tools to improve client service, streamline internal workflows, or get ahead of where AI is taking the profession. The solutions you'll see this afternoon have been selected with that audience in mind. You'll be seeing demos covering everything from AI-powered knowledge management and M&A due diligence automation to time capture, dictation, CRM, and legal intelligence platform. A real cross-section of what's available to law firms in the market right now. Each demo runs 15 minutes. We'll keep things tight and useful. By the end of the session, you'll have seen 11 tools up close, and you'll have a much clearer picture of what's out there and what actually might fit your firm. So why now and why EMEA? The legal tech market in EMEA is moving fast. Law firms across the region are under real pressure from clients who expect more efficiency, from competitive forces reshaping the market, and from AI developments that are changing what's possible almost month to month. The challenge isn't a shortage of tools, it's knowing which ones are worth your time. That's exactly what today is designed to solve. Instead of trawling through vendor websites, sitting through one-off sales calls, you get everything in one place in one afternoon with the ability to quickly ask questions directly. So a few housekeeping notes before we start. Please put your questions in the Q&A box. You will see that rather than the chat box. The presenter will then be will be monitoring the Q&A throughout the demo, and we'll let the presenters know the questions as we go along. If you accidentally post something in the chat, don't worry, a member of our team will move it across for you. All attendees' cameras and microphones are off for the duration of the session. Only presenters will have their video on while presenting. Today's session will be recorded. We'll send you a full recording out to all registered attendees of the webinar. So if you need to step away at any point or want to revisit a particular demo, you'll be able to do that at your convenience. And finally, getting in touch with presenters. If you'd like to be introduced by us to any of the vendors you see today, pop a request in the Q&A or drop us an email afterwards, and we'll make sure that you're connected. Right, so that's everything from me. Let's get started now. Our first presenter is Max from PointOne, who will be showing us their solution, PointOne Time. Over to you, Max.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody. I'll be sharing my screen. You should be able to see it now. So in terms of agenda, we have 12 minutes. I'll be giving you a very quick introduction about the company, and then we'll jump straight into the product. So PointOne is an automated timekeeping, bill review, and compliance tool. We are the fastest growing provider of AI for the business of law. Our founders are ex-Amazon and Google engineers. On the team, we have Stanford, Princeton, and PhDs from some of the biggest tech companies in the world. We've raised over $20 million from top investors. So early on, we were backed by Y Combinator, and recently we raised our Series A with Bessemer Ventures, General Catalyst, AVC. And as you probably know, those investors are known to invest in the best-in-class AI legal tech tools on the market today. And we're very proud that they chose PointOne as such. We work with 200 law firms, from sophisticated boutiques all the way to the AmLaw 50 and AmLaw 100. And we work with firms globally in Europe, Asia, Canada, and beyond. We all understand that manual time entry is hurting firms today. There's a lot of lost billable hours, and that's exactly what we're here to fix. So we have 3 products at PointOne. The first one is our flagship product. It's PointOne Time. It's the most automated and intelligent AI native tool on the market today. It will create AI-generated entries for you with the right client matter classification, right amount of time, and a loyalty narrative for all legal work. We're generating complete, ready-to-invoice time entries for all of your work with a digital footprint. Then you have PointOne Rules, which sits inside PointOne Time, and it has the ability to extract all OCG and internal firm billing guidelines and apply those rules proactively at the point of time entry inside PointOne Time, such that every time entry is automatically guideline compliant. Finally, here in the middle, you have PointOne Review. It's our pre-bill review product. It's actually the only AI native pre-bill review interface today on the market, and essentially is surfacing issues that arise during the pre-bill review phase, allowing you to edit time entries in a way that's very streamlined. Now, as I mentioned, we work with 200 law firms, so you have sophisticated boutiques all the way to the M Law 50, and this is, of course, a result of the platform that I will show you in a minute. In terms of security, we are SOC 2 Type 2 compliant, ISO, GDPR, HIPAA. There's zero training of AI on your firm's data, zero data retention by our AI models. And we're able to deploy on-prem and, of course, on cloud. As a result of all this, our law firms report 50% less time on billing and admin, a 9 to 14% increase in billable hours, and 2 to 4% increase in their realization rates. So now I'll be sharing my screen on the platform. You can jump straight into it. So the first thing to note is that PointOne is a very lightweight app that you can download across all of your devices. So today we'll be looking at the desktop app, but you can also download it on your mobile device and on your tablet. It works across Windows and MacBook alike. Here on the desktop app, you'll notice that we try to keep the UX very simple. The platform requires very little training. We kept it very intuitive. So here, all you have to do essentially is click in the top right corner, and you have the 2 forms of auto capture. The first one, we understand that attorneys are doing more and more of their work on their mobile devices. So it's an API sync that connects your Teams, Zoom calls, any email that you're sending out, and calendar events. It will generate the time entry for you and link it to the right client matter. Second, here, computer capture. As the name entails, it's any work that you're doing on a Word document, legal research on Westlaw, LexisNexis, Harvey, Claude, wherever it might be. And you can also filter out your personal browsing here by instructing the system, which is quite important in terms of adoption internally. Now, let's run through an example here. Let's say this is your first day on PointOne, and we have a pretty unique feature that actually allows you to go back up to 2 years in time in 30-day increments. So this is particularly useful when you're about to close your billing cycle. You want to pick up on all the emails, Zoom calls, or calendar events from the past 30 days. You can do the same thing here in your calendar view. And this is exactly what will appear on your computer as your timesheet. So if we look at it together on the left side, you have the dates, then you have the client matter. We integrate with over 15 different practice management systems, so your client matters will populate automatically from day one. And it's a bidirectional sync, meaning that any changes you make within PointOne will also reflect within your billing software. So here you have the client matter over the dropdown, the time estimated that you spent on this email correspondence, and you always have full control and can modify this. And then, of course, PointOne stands out for the quality of the narrative. So in this case, email correspondence with claim specialist R. Patel regarding liability assessment and authorization to issue medical and employment record subpoenas. That's already a pretty lawyerly narrative, but there's a couple of things you can do. You can edit it directly. You can actually instruct the system to learn your tone and your style very quickly. And the more you apply changes and you release within PointOne, the more intelligent it gets. So out of the box, the narratives are already very good, but by day 30, day 60, they're even better. Finally, as mentioned earlier, PointOne rules makes it that if you make a change here and it's not compliant, the system will flag it. Here, you'll notice that this is no longer compliance because we are to refer to individuals by first initial and surname, never use a full first name. You can apply the fix and your entry is fully compliant, which greatly reduces the pre-bill workflow and client write-offs. At the bottom, we'll always tell you where we're able to find this information. So in this case, this is the email correspondence. You'll notice that the client matter is not mentioned in the subject nor the body of the email. But if you scroll down, you'll see that Smith versus Redwood Freight matter was selected because Raj is known from prior conversations to be the claim specialist on that file. So even with very minimal context, PointOne is able to pick up on the right client matter and generate a guideline compliant narrative for you. So that's the first form of auto capture. Of course, we want to cover the full digital footprint. So the second form of auto capture is computer. So in this case, we understand that there's a lot of context switching that takes place on your day-to-day. So I'll give you an example here. Let's say that you're working on this brief from the Northern District of California. It's Uber versus Waymo. It's actually about former Uber board member Bill Gurley. And let's say that you are to make a few simple changes here in the introduction. And then you probably would have drafted an outline, done some research, but it's not always so linear. So there's always a bit more research to do. Let's say in our case that we look at the Federal Rules of Evidence 701. As we speed read through this, there's a couple of things I want you to notice. The first one is that I didn't instruct the system anything. I'm just going about my regular day as an attorney, and PointOne is working for me in the background. The second is that it does not matter where I'm doing this research. It could be in Westlaw, LexisNexis, Claude, Harvey. PointOne will be able to pick up on this information. So I'll open a couple more tabs here. And I'm sure this doesn't happen to you very often, but let's say you get a little bit distracted and decide to do some Amazon browsing. Thanks to the filters that we've put in place, this will not appear on the timesheet. Now, in the middle of all this, you get an email. It's urgent. It's from Robert White. You decide to answer right away. So this is what we'll do here. And then we'll actually return to the platform and see if PointOne was able to pick up on everything that we just did. So here, financial disclosure checklist. And I'll send out this email to Rob. And then we'll return to the platform. Here, for the sake of the demo, I will turn this off so it can refresh. Otherwise, it takes a couple of minutes. And then we'll look in the top left corner. It'll just take a second to sync in the calendar view. We'll jump back to today. And everything is here. So the first thing that we did, it's Uber versus Waymo, revised introductory section of draft brief in support of precluding opinion testimony of B. Gurley. That's the work that we did in here. And that's a PointOne. Second, the system is intelligent enough to know that it's still Uber versus Waymo, this time research scope of lay opinion testimony under Federal Rules of Evidence in connection with brief. So that's all the different tabs that we open here. And it filtered out the Amazon browsing. And finally, it differentiated the email that we sent to Robert White regarding the financial disclosure checklist. I think now you get a better sense why the 200 law firms we work with see a 10 to 15% increase in billables, essentially because nothing is left on the table anymore. I'll stop here and see if there are any questions. Thank you very much.
And a reminder, any questions, please put those in the Q&A function. We do have a raised hand. Sampa, are you able to just put your question into the Q&A? At the very top of the screen, you'll see the Q&A tag. We'll just wait just a second to see if that, there we go. We've got the question in the Q&A. Can you see that
Yeah, sure.
question?
Thank you, Sampa, for that question. Usually we discuss that based on the number of timekeepers within the firm. So I'm happy to do a tailored demo for you and discuss it. If you scan the QR code there, or you can email me at max@pointone.com.
And we have it looks like someone may have put a question in the chat. For this to work in tracking the files I've worked on, does the tool need to be connected to the file management system?
Yep, thank you, Fazil, for that question. So the only integration that we need is, and we recommend this with your practice management system, it just makes it more seamless for your client matters to populate within PointOne and any changes to reflect on both sides. Then we have the integration with Zoom, Teams, WebEx, your email, of course, and calendar. But other than that, thanks to computer capture, we don't need integrations with any other tools that you're using. We'll be able to pick up on any information from your desktop, and of course, filter out the personal browsing.
Thank you very much, Max, and we'll be moving on now. A very quick plug. We will be doing another demo dozen with Afriwise on September the 2nd. The link for that will be in the chat. That will be in-house focused. So have a click on that link if you want to attend that. There's a whole range of vendors there that are more focused on in-house. So please have a look at that. The next presenter is from Clearpeople, the company Clearpeople. The product is Atlas Fuse. The presenter is Gabriel. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Alex. Really pleased to be here today. My name is Gabriel Karawani. I am one of the co-founders in Clearpeople, the company, as you said, behind the product Atlas Fuse. I'm really pleased to be here, and I'm just going to set the context for the demo very, very quickly. So you probably all recognize this problem. AI is only as good as the knowledge behind it. Yet in most firms, knowledge is fragmented across systems with no consistent way to know what is authoritative, what is current, or what is safe. And the result really is two versions of that same problem. Number one, people struggle to find information. And meanwhile, AI now inherits that uncertainty, making it difficult to operationalize safely and at scale. And solving this takes actually more than just another search or another AI tool. It requires enterprise knowledge infrastructure. And that is what Atlas Fuse provides. Infrastructure between enterprise content and every experience that uses it. So the content actually stays where it lives. Atlas Fuse connects it and adds the context and the controls that make it trustworthy and reusable. That governed knowledge is then delivered to people, AI, assistants, and agents. And this is actually crucial because AI needs more than document access. It needs context, it needs permissions, it needs provenance, and it actually needs to be current. And so firms establish this knowledge and control layer once, and then reuse it across Atlas Fuse experiences, across Microsoft Copilot, or other enterprise AI tools that you may have invested in. And as it's purpose-built for Microsoft 365, Atlas Fuse works within the security and governance model that your firm already trusts. And so the result is faster answers and a safer, scalable AI foundation, while your IP remains under your control. And that includes your prompts, your responses, and your AI indexes, which is also your IP. So in practice, really, Atlas Views does four major things. It connects knowledge without moving it. It adds business context that gives it meaning. It governs this for both people and AI experiences, and it makes it reusable across every experience, again, for both people and AI. And that combination is really what makes Atlas Views different, and it's already being used by firms worldwide, as you know. So let us look at what this might look like in a short demo. And what I'll do is we will basically follow the persona of a partner in a corporate practice team. And the partner might, for instance, just be a new lateral hire, maybe amongst other things, taking over responsibility of a strategic client. We'll identify a colleague for a new important matter. We'll drop in on some M&A work. We will review some closing deliverables and even flag up some work that has been done for the KM team. And then finally, we'll respond to an urgent request and then end the day with a preparing for QBR with the client. So let's drop into the demo. We should be in the demo here. Okay, so where we are landing now is inside of Teams. So you can use Atlas Views inside of Teams or inside of SharePoint. And as I said, this is sitting inside your Microsoft 365 tenant. The whole knowledge foundation is sitting inside your tenant. But what we are going to do now is we're going to start from this sort of intranet type of entry point, and they're really going to start moving in and diving into the knowledge layer, but through a search experience. So that's how we're going to start this journey, and we're going to learn a little bit more about this client called Bank of Alaska. And as you can see here, I expanded that search panel, and the search panel is completely configurable. In fact, everything you're going to see today is completely configurable to your brand, to your tone, your terminology is all configurable in here. And the panel, as an example, would also allow you to set up the panel experience and the search experiences that make sense to your firm. And so what we have here is the result, again, in the demonstration sort of global search dashboard. The result is searching for Bank of Alaska. And we're really seeing two major sections. We're seeing the left-hand side here, which is the keyword type of search. And on the right-hand side, we're seeing an AI overview. And so if we start sort of down at the bottom and we look at an individual search result, there's a lot of information actually provided for this one search result, completely configurable. We're seeing an AI summary coming through. We're seeing specific tags being flagged up here. And this could really be any of the tags. And this sort of reminds me to highlight one of the key aspects of Atlas Views and the knowledge layer, which is the automated tagging that happens in context, and as well automated tagging depending on the content, if that is enabled. So what you really have is every single piece of content is tagged across multiple dimensions of tags that are relevant to your firm, such as the information type president, but it could also be a subject. In fact, if we scroll up and we look at these filters up here, they give you a clue in terms of what is actually tagged across the knowledge layer. And if we go into something like the information type and we type in NDA, we're actually not seeing NDA come up. Instead, we see non-disclosure agreement. And this is a great example at the micro level of how the knowledge layer is working. So we got NDAs translated to is a synonym for non-disclosure agreement. We can see the synonyms below. We can see an explanation. This actually at the micro level is also used by AI because it gives context around stuff. Okay, so what we also have here is a number of other things. We, for instance, have the verticals, again, completely configurable. We might want to dip in and see what's going on in our CRM or maybe our practice management system. We might want to dip in and have a look at our document management system, whether it's iManage or NetDocs or whatever it might be. So we will come back to iManage in a bit, but all this information is available to you, including, for instance, something like gold rated, which is a super important concept. This basically would be anything that has been gone through a system, say this is excellent sterling gold graded knowledge that can be used across the firm. So on this experience here, you can really see a lot of power behind, or power shown coming from the knowledge layer. So what we then have on the right hand side is the AI overview, and the AI overview is using the semantic layer, the semantic search. and allows us then to go in and explore what is coming up with, in this particular case, an overview of Bank of Alaska. I can continue asking questions. I can hover over citations, and these citations here might even include detailed tagging that is pushed right down into the semantic layer, into the AI index. All this here, including the sources, etc., where you can see the scores and the chunks that have been used to provide these answers here. All this is actually available for other AI tools as well. So through MCP or through our full API, other tools can leverage the same thing. You don't necessarily have to do it through this agent experience that you're seeing here. Okay, so what we had a good look at here now was, we're getting a good overview of the client, but in fact, you might have noticed a couple of bookmarks coming up there. In fact, I can just jump right into the client's landing page here, and I get a similar kind of overview pulled together, but now already preset and pre-filtered to give me an overview against the client, just that client. So what we have is, of course, all the bids being listed for us here, all the current matters, any projects that are going side by side, maybe news items, useful links, FAQs, etc., etc. Let's go back to search. Right, so I have sort of completed my first step. I have a good understanding of the client now, and I have gone in and checked out what's going on in the actual client workspace itself. But we need to now man a new potential matter. And for this matter here, what we'll do is we will, we know this work is coming up. We want to find the expert that's the right subject matter expert with some experience in Bank of Alaska. The search itself is giving us results here from the expertise directory of people that might have been tagged against Bank of Alaska, which is great. But at the same time, the AI is helping us and digging a little bit deeper. So if we go into this particular chat here now, we can see that, for instance, Brendan Hurst is coming up as a strong match. A couple of others also coming up. I might just go for Brendan Hurst. Or I might say, well, actually, let's continue on this journey into the expertise directory. So now, as I am exploring the expertise directory a little bit further, I might do something like say, okay, well, I know I'm looking for a partner maybe to lead this particular matter. So I'm just going to click partner here, and I'm going to pivot my expertise directory around partner. At the same time, I know it's obviously someone in the corporate team, so I'll click corporate, and I'm doing my second pivot. But I also happen to know that the client's, the main contact person from the client is in the London office. So I might actually find someone in our London office and click London office there. So I've now done basically 3 filters just by clicking on these pills, and we can see Brendan Hurst is coming up there again. So let's get a bit more information about Brendan. There it is. Or we might really go deep and go into his full profile, which is pulling together information from across this knowledge layer, which is specific to Brendan Hurst. That might be coming from Foundation. It might be coming from Active Directory. It might be coming from your bio database or whatever it might be. And that is pulled together here in whatever format that makes sense to your firm. In fact, it could even pull through all the contributions that Brendan has made to a specific subject matter area or whatever that might be. Okay, so we've really done quite a lot of work here. So what we might do now is dive into some work that is currently ongoing. So let's, instead of going back to search, let's go via the Matter Hub. And in the Matter Hub, we're going to do a very quick little filter here, and let's just find the M&A matters. I know it's an M&A matter I'm looking for. So again, we're using the filters effectively. We can see the synonym actually works for us here. It's actually mergers and acquisitions under commercial law we're looking for. So we're going in here. We might just drop in on this particular ADA matter, the ADA acquisition. And now we're seeing yet again a dashboard, but now the matter level pulling stuff through here from, again, the knowledge layer coming from multiple sources in our enterprise systems. In fact, what we have is we have got things coming from 365 itself. We've got things, documents coming through from iManage. We can quickly see what's going on in Teams in terms of the various collaboration areas and drop in and out of those. We've got the SharePoint library there. In fact, we can drop stuff off straight into an out-of-the-box experience if we want to here. And in fact, if we drop stuff into this SharePoint library of the folder here, that actually gets synced right back to iManage. We can also drop stuff off to iManage here if we wanted to. Now, in fact, talking about iManage, let's go into iManage and have a look at this particular work product. This is one of the closing deliverables. We need to review it. This is an amazing certificate. I absolutely love it. I think we should use this here as a template going forward. So why don't I flag this up as a knowledge asset? Simply by clicking on the capability in iManage to start workflows, we're connecting into an Atlas Fuse workflow in Power Automate. We can see a couple here. We could push it maybe to the client portal. In this case here, we're pushing it through as knowledge into the KB. We'll say this is a great example of whatever. And we'll put a quick date. Put a quick date there and a quick date there, and we'll submit that there. Sorry, did I flick? There we go. And we can now see the result of that. Okay, so now as we've done all that, great, we've done nearly a day's work. But what we'll now do is go back and answer that urgent query. We just saw there the submission coming through. I don't know if you noticed it. We'll go back and deal with. I believe I'm not sharing. Is that correct?
Yeah, you need to share your screen again. Sorry.
Okay, what happened there? Does anyone?
Not entirely sure.
Okay, well, I'll share again. Here we go.
There you go. Now we can see it. Thank you.
Okay, where did we drop off? We saw the did you guys see iManage and sharing the document in?
Yeah, Alex? I think just continue from there.
Okay, so we saw me sharing that document in. I'm not going to do all the steps again. We shared it in by the workflow. We've now done all that. And what we will now do is we'll go back in here, but now we're going to answer an urgent request, and we will go into Copilot. And in fact, the client here is asking, I'll just jump over here to speed up a little bit. The client is asking for some help with an expert in patent law with more than 5 years of experience in London. So we're going to fire that query off. And what we can see here is how we're connecting via the Atlas Fuse expertise agent, connecting straight into the knowledge layer. And so we will get an answer, hopefully in a few seconds, that is going to give us that exact answer. And yes, based on this, we have got Chance Swanson, and that is, I can assure you, the correct answer. And then finally, to end our day, what we might do is ask in a similar way to do a QBR for Bank of Alaska tomorrow. In this case here, we're asking through the Atlas Fuse 360 agent. You can see a quite verbose answer here, listing out of opportunities and methods that we're working on. And what's interesting here is that this is really the proof of the knowledge layer bringing things together, in this case here, also from Salesforce. And that really ends what I wanted to show you today. And thank you very much. And apologies for the sharing stopping for some reason for a second or two. But hopefully that gave you some insight. And there are a couple of takeaways there. And if you require a full demo, please do get in touch. Are there any questions?
And remember, please use the Q&A function for your questions. How does Atlas Fuse protect its
central knowledge base?
Came and went as quickly as I saw it.
I see it here. How does Atlas Fuse protect the central knowledge base? Yeah. So Atlas protects the central knowledge base because it's sitting inside. I assume you mean from the perspective of the firm. So Atlas Fuse is deployed inside the Microsoft cloud of the firm. So nothing actually leaves your ring-fenced security that you have already configured in Microsoft 365. So the indexes that allow you to do the cross-searching, the AI indexes, they are all in your control. In fact, our team don't even have access to those indexes. So hopefully that provides enough answer. Otherwise, do please reach out. Any other questions?
I think that's it for now. If any questions do come up, we will absolutely forward those to you. And thank you, Gabriel, for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
So we'll be moving on quickly to our next solution. I did want to quickly talk a little bit about a new conference that we will be hosting along with our partner Afriwise, which is the Legaltech Africa Conference, which will be on January the 28th, 2027. There's some details in the link there if you want to pre-register for information. We'll be publishing speaker lists and agendas in the coming weeks, but we'd love for your participation. That will be happening in Johannesburg, by the way. I didn't mention that, on January the 28th. So we're very, very excited to be partnering with Afriwise on that. So our next presenter is for a company called Speech Processing Solutions. The solution is Philips Speech Live, and our presenter is Ryan. So over to you, Ryan.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon, everybody. My name's Ryan. I'm a Senior Account Executive at Philips Speech AI Solutions, and I'm going to be just running through a quick couple of slides, followed by a demonstration of our solution. So I'll just start by sharing my screen. Okay, so basically the administrative burden within customer legal documentation at the moment is a real problem for law firms at the moment, and using our tool to basically draft through speech recognition would be a really useful tool. So Philips Speech Live is the foundation of the product, and today we've launched a new part of the solution called the Legal AI Assistant. So Speech Live allows for cloud-based dictation using a mobile app, desktop app, web application, and then that audio files are stored in a secure cloud environment where they can then be picked up by either your legal assistant, or they can be converted into text using a speech recognition or AI engine. The speech recognition is based specifically on a legal context, so it helps with legal specific jargon, and it allows you to either dictate directly into a template, or you can dictate and have it converted in the background into a document, which will then be able to be reviewed by your assistant. And then today, as I say, we've launched, or prior to have launched, the Speech Live Legal AI Assistant, which is an add-on to the existing Speech Live solution. So it's part of the Speech Live family or Speech Live portfolio. And what it basically allows you to do is upload a recording or record directly in the browser using a microphone or a headset, or upload a pre-recorded audio file. That recording can then be converted into a draft document directly into a template. We can also upload various sources of information, so you can upload documents, PDFs, pictures, etc. And then that information we use to produce an output of a tailored draft for a legal professional to review. So legal documentation burden today, I'm speaking to a lot of law firms. Obviously, a lot of their time is spent on administrative tasks, about 56% of admin tasks every day, which reduces the billable hours. Low leverage drafting, so lawyers spend hours redlining contracts, modifying boilerplates, templates, updating definitions, etc. And that obviously then drains the billable hours. Roughly 2 hours a day. Nearly half of global law firms have reported they spend between 2 and 5 hours a day on administrative work rather than legal tasks. And then a typical lawyer loses tens of thousands of dollars each year in document processing. So every hour diverted to administration is an hour taken away from legal reasoning, billable hours, and professional fulfillment. Other inefficiencies, so basically transcription bottlenecks, where the document's sat there and it's got to be typed manually, could lead to obviously workflow inefficiency. There's a lot of systems out there and disjointed software ecosystems, so legal staff often waste time entering identical data across various systems, including billing systems, email, and case files. And then obviously the version control chaos, so managing multiple iterations of the same draft could often result in outdated versions being used incorrectly. More importantly, people are concerned about data and compliance and security risks. So obviously making sure that the solution is secure, making sure that your files are stored in a secure location, and our Speech Live solution can help with that. And then a full audit trail about manual labor, so creating compliant paper trail, tracking the document history, and just basically knowing exactly what's happening could save an immense amount of time. So manual transcription, disconnected systems, and a compliance overhead quietly drain the billable hours, adding to risk, making integrated, secure automation a clear priority. So introducing the SpeechLive Legal AI Assistant. So what is the AI Assistant? As I mentioned previously, it's an AI-powered tool that turns voice recordings, dictation, and uploaded files into structured, ready-to-review documents. This significantly reduces the time between voice inputs and also the production of legal documentation. Solutions built specifically around legal professionals. So we have over 75% of our market are legal customers. And they want to spend less time on their documents and more time on the billable hours with their clients on a strategic legal work. Also, they want to improve document quality and consistency, which will reduce the administration burden and integrate seamlessly with case management or document management systems. So we do have an API, and we can integrate our solution with any document or case management system, which just automates the completion of the document, pulling it straight into the relevant matter. And then the speech recognition for legal, that ensures that you can create accurate audio for the assistant to then place that into your standard or custom template. So the end-to-end workflow overview, so this is typically what it looks like from start to finish. I will show you a demonstration of the solution afterwards. But typically step one would be where you would either upload a pre-recorded audio file, which could be a multi-speaker meeting. It could be an individual dictation, which is uploaded to the actual platform. And then you can speak naturally. You don't need to use any punctuation commands. You can use speech recognition, and what uses speech recognition with specific legal accuracy. Then you can add additional context to the actual system by uploading documents, so multiple files, witness statements, additional bits to make sure that the AI system pulls the relevant bits of information into your draft template. And then the generate button will generate a draft. So you'll get your formatted first tailored draft with full context. That's done in minutes. And then you can edit that manually via AI chat. It also includes auto saving. So the result will be a structured legal documents that's ready to review, or just final checks which can be exported. So Word documents, a PDF, or a text file. Okay, so obviously after this, happy to continue the conversation, arrange tailored demos if anybody's interested. You can just scan the QR code, or you can speak to the guys at Legaltech Hub and they'll pass on my details and we can discuss your requirements in more detail. So what I'm going to do next then is just jump straight onto a demonstration of the platform. Given time, I'm not going to go through the full SpeechLive system today, but I'm going to focus mainly around the SpeechLive AI Assistant. So as I said, it's part of the SpeechLive ecosystem. So you've got your standard dictation workflow here, and this is where you would upload or see any of your dictations. But the additional module will be the AI Assistant, and this is where you can typically record directly in the browser, or you can upload recordings to the AI Assistant. You can also use the AI chat function. What the AI chat function allows you to do is request a new template, request information on a specific document. So it's all natural language commands you can use to be able to ask, produce me this specific template, create this particular document, review this particular, pull out the key risks or elements of a particular recording. So that all can be done. So for the purpose of demonstration, what I'm going to do is just start a recording. So this is a meeting that started at 12:35 and finished at 1:45. The 1 unit of time was used. We're discussing the options around the SpeechLive AI Assistants. It was an online meeting with Ryan Prince from Philips and also the colleague from Legaltech Hub. So the action points of this call, if anybody wants a demonstration, they can discuss that directly with me by either scanning my QR code in the presentation, or they can ask the Legaltech Hub team to just send over my details, and I'll be happy to answer that. Also, what I would just want to mention is if there's any other questions, please do reach out to me. Matter reference is PRI 123 and file number is 12456. Okay, so I've recorded a 44-second dictation there. I can go in here and click on sources, and I can upload. I can browse to 5 additional files, which could be text files, document files, PDFs, JPEGs, and then they can be uploaded as additional sources of information. So what the AI does is it doesn't look externally, but it keeps the information from your recording as well as the uploaded sources of information, just making it a bit more secure. So it won't just guess. You're not going to have any hallucinations, but it's going to use the specific source of information or your recording to upload. I can then go into my template section. You'll see the system templates. So these are templates that are pre-built into Speech Live. And then you've also got the above section which says my templates. So those are templates I've created using the AI chat. So I can click on attendance note for the purpose of this. It'll give me a template preview. Obviously, I haven't recorded in any structure. I've just recorded and spoke naturally without any punctuation, etc. I can click the word generate at the bottom of the screen. What that's going to do is analyze the content of my recording and then populate that into the structured template. Okay, so as you can see over here, you've got the matter reference, the file number, the date, the time. You've also got the attendees and the subject, notes, any time engaged and action points. Also just gives you a disclaimer at the bottom. It's AI generated content, so obviously just review that. If I click on this little page icon over here, that will just show me that's the recording in a non-structured format. Block of text. I can listen back to the audio and make amendments if I need to. But then I can also just click on the export button and export this completed template as a document, PDF or text file. We can integrate with third-party case management systems. We've already done integrations with NetDocs, iManage, Clio, and ActionStep. And in that case, the automation of pulling this completed template directly into one of those systems can be done through an integration. And then you can look over here, if I click on documents, that will just list the attendance note documents. Because it's part of the main Speech Live workflow, I can also go to my dictations list. And I would see the recording in there, as well as the actual, say if I'm using a legal assistant or a secretary, they'll be able to view the recording and the text file, and they'll be able to proofread or check or make minor adjustments if need be. So this is the first iteration of the solution. Future iterations will include things like a plug into Microsoft Word and Outlook, where you'll be able to use your house style templates, your own fonts, etc. I'll just go back to the AI assistant again, and then just demonstrate how I can maybe create a template. So if I just say, please create a letter of engagement. You could also upload your own template to this section and then ask the AI to generate it as and there I've got a letter engagement template. I can edit this template by adding or removing bits, either through the AI chat or manually doing that. There are sort of structured guides to be able to create the headings, the placeholders, instructions, but we can work with you to, if you've got your own set of templates or need specific guidance on that, we can help you on that. And then you can save this template and you can just give it a name, and then it'll appear in my list of templates. So letter engagement. And the template's available for me to use. So I can basically take that template. I can obviously add my recording and generate it if it was a letter engagement. And in some cases, you might not record in real time. What you'll do is create a new case or a new recording. You'll upload, and then you can choose a pre-recorded audio file. So I'll just choose the court document preparation template or recording, sorry. That's uploaded my recording. I can then go to my template and I might say I'm going to use my meeting template for this. That particular recording has got multiple people recording, so it will actually separate the voices, give you the names of the speakers, etc. So if I click generate, it's going to take the audio file. It's going to then create a structured meeting template from my recording. So if you've got an in-person or meeting or telephone attendance and you upload your recording from that meeting, it will populate that into the template. Again, over here you can see it's creating all the text directly into the template, so rather than having to manually copy and paste, which has happened in the past. It's giving you the time of the meeting. It's mentioned it was a virtual meeting, the name of the attendees. It's also pulled out any action items and the date for next meeting schedule, etc. So from that point of view, you can create that document a lot quicker than having to type it from scratch, which is what a lot of law firms, believe it or not, are still doing in terms of their document creation. Okay, there's the non-structured transcript, and then obviously the structured template. I could also use the same recording and produce maybe a matter summary if I wanted, and then just click generate. And that's going to populate the actual text into a different template or a different recording template. And you'll be able to then use that same recording for multiple uploads. So again, you've got all the information there, and where I haven't mentioned procedural history or decision, it's just put not available, but I can use my keyboard and I can just edit and fill in bits of information. Or if I'm missing bits of information and I've uploaded sources of information afterwards, then I can rerun the template and we'll fill in the missing bits if needs be. There's a mobile app option as well. So if I just show you this quickly, so you could log in on your phone app. You could go to the standard speech live recording and you can record your dictation and send that across to the speech AI versions to convert it into a document, or the new version, which has got the AI assistant. This is typically where you'd have a list of all your recordings. So you could start the recording on the phone by clicking the plus button. I can record another short dictation. This time around, I'm just recording its matter reference 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as I'm speaking now, this is just picking up my voice. So you can record your full meeting or your full recording, and then you can generate it. You can choose from the templates, the same templates you have available on the web application. You also have those templates available on the phone. You can generate a letter from that recording. It'll give me an example of what the blank template looks like, and I can just generate it. So you wouldn't have to normally create a structured template or speak in a structured way. You could just have a normal conversation, not have to dictate any punctuation, and it will kind of complete all of that. So you can see the information I recorded. It's just filled it directly into the document. So given time, I've got about 5 minutes left. So what I'll do is just hand over to anybody if anybody's got any questions. And as I say, if you want to arrange a follow-up demonstration, please do reach out. I'll be happy to help with that.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's have a quick look in the Q&A here. What are the timescales for Microsoft 365 integration into Speech Live?
So probably to get Microsoft 365 integration, probably next year we're looking at integrating that.
Are there any other questions? Just quickly checking the chat as well. Please, as a reminder, we need to put the questions into the Q&A. There is a question here. Is there a way to integrate a firm's previous draft data for Speech Live to learn from and tailor its output instead of uploading on the go?
Yes, so at the moment it's uploading sources of information, but that is a really valid point and we'll take it away. So product's evolving all the time. Customer feedback like that question or that information is really useful because our development is an in-house development team based out of Vienna, Austria. So if we get those types of requests, we can certainly put that forward to the product team and then give you an update as timescales. But the question to answer that, yes, that it would be possible in the future, but not with first release.
Fantastic. Ryan, I think we need to move on to the next presenter. Thank you very much. If you do have any questions for Ryan or would like to be connected, please let us know in the chat or the Q&A and we'll make sure those connections. Sorry, there is one last question very quickly. How many languages are available?
Languages at the moment, English, French, German, but there's lots of other languages being launched very soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. And we'll be moving on to our next solution, but I did just for a moment want to plug one of our own events on September 23rd in New York. If you happen to be in New York or any of your colleagues who are New York based, is Legaltech Hub Horizons. It's our flagship conference. It's the 5th year we'll be putting it on. It'll be held at Columbia Law School on September 23rd. The information for that, you can click on the link in the chat. So next we have Emma, the solution, And Verla, I'm hoping I'm getting that right. I did ask ChatGPT.
I appreciate
Verla,
it.
over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Veerle Brusseleers. I am the Legal Innovation Counsel at EMEA. And in that role, I basically sit together with our clients on a daily basis, be it law firms like you or in-house legal teams. And they seem to be facing the same challenges that I faced when I was still practicing law, being that they are looking for a tool that is easy to set up, is fully customizable, and that allows for collaborative teamwork to really collaborate with the deal team. So EMEA is an AI-powered workspace legal due diligence platform. And as we have limited time today, I have decided to focus on those 3 points and how EMEA tries to provide a solution for those 3 points. So the customizability, easy setup, and the collaborative workspace. However, so I will be presenting now. Here we go. So this is basically our solution in a nutshell, and I will be focusing on playbooks, as you will see here. I will be focusing on the collaborative features, being the report and the follow-up tasks, and I will also be focusing on our chat, who has agentic capabilities. I realize that this is a limited scope for today, but we also did a demo dozen in June. So oh, sorry, I just got a notification that I'm not sharing yet my screen. There we go. There we go. So here we go. So this is our overview of today. So playbooks, agentic chats, and collaborative features in our platform. And then we also did a demo dozen in June. So my colleague Rick there explains the platform more as a whole. So if you would like to see the full platform in action, then you can access this link and you will be redirected to the demo dozen of June. There we go. Let's dive in, I would say. So the first thing that I am going to do is create a new data room in EMEA. It's fairly easy to do so. So here we go. So for the purpose of this demo, I will highlight some of the features today, but not all of them. So I will quickly give my data room a name. So demo dozen, name of the target company. Here you can select your output language. For today and today's demo, I will choose US English. And then here you see that there is 3 types of deals that we support in the platform, be it a share deal, an asset deal, or an investment deal. And today I will be focusing on investment deal to showcase the playbooks that come along with that. There we go. We also have extensive data room connections, but that is not the purpose of today's demo. So I will skip that for now. And then we are here with the playbook. So what does a playbook in EMEA consists of? A playbook in EMEA consists of 2 things, basically. So at first we have the IRL, the information request list, so the categorization of documents. So EMEA recognizes, based on the content of the documents, what type of document it is. Is it articles of association, bylaws, board minutes, anything? And EMEA will classify them for you. And then we add a layer on top of that, being the checks. And a check could be, for example, is there a change of control clause in any of the data room documents? Yes or no? Is all IP transferred from the employees to the company? Yes or no? Anything basically that could pose a risk for the transaction at hand. So the combination of those 2 is an EMEA playbook. And as you will see here, we have multiple available off the shelf for you, so you don't have to do the full setup yourself. So here you will see, for example, I chose an investment deal before, that we have a fund playbook ready for you to use, a VC playbook, and an investment playbook that is more tailored to PE deals. In addition to that, we also have organization playbooks, so you can basically create your own playbooks in EMEA or start from a preset and do your own thing with it. So then I will choose one and continue. And as a next step and as part of the collaborative features, you can invite all of your colleagues or external colleagues even people you collaborate with for a specific domain expertise, you can invite them all into one workspace and collaborate together. There we go. And then for the purpose of the demo, I will go to our demo data room, as you can see right here. So as you have noted, I have chosen a certain playbook at the beginning when doing the setup. But I also want to quickly highlight how easy it is in EMEA to create your own playbook or start from a preset and create your own from there. So here, if you want to create a new playbook, you can start from a preset, so from EMEA's playbooks, or you can start from one within your organization. So another data room that one of your colleagues has created an amazing playbook for a specific software deal or other type of deal. You can all access them here and you can create your own playbook. Creating a playbook also allows for the checks and everything to run automatically. So everything happens as soon as you choose a playbook, all checks will start running, all classification will start running. So it's saving you a lot of time. And I will quickly go back. Here we go. The next thing that I want to highlight during this specific demo is the chat functionalities. So as you will see here, we have one overlaying chat, but you can also chat with documents on an individual basis. How does a chat work? Basically, it's very easy to chat with all files or only a preset of files. You can improve your prompts, and the chat knows about everything that is going on in the data room. So I can ask the chat about high risks related to IP transfers or to change of control clauses. I can ask any of those things, basically, even what is written in the report, what recommendations we're giving, everything. For the purpose of this specific demo, I will base it off of a question that I posed earlier today. So my question was, are the employment agreements in this data room already compliant with the new EU Transparency Pay Directive, yes or no? As we are aware, we are Belgium-based. We're a bit late in transforming the legislation, but other countries might be already further ahead with that. So the conclusion was that these specific employment agreements were not yet compliant. Okay, great answer, great to know. But I would like to reuse this check for all future M&A data rooms that I have in EMEA. What can I do then? I can ask the chat to turn this into a check. And that check I can then add to my playbooks and it automatically starts running when I have another data room. So here, can you create a check based on this question? And there we go. And while our chat is thinking, I will explain a bit more about how our chat is working under the hood. So what we use is basically an agentic layer and a multi-model approach. Why do we do that, you might ask? We do that mostly because each one of these models has a specific task that they're very good at. So some of these models are better at extracting information. Some of these models are better at summarizing information. And what is most important and what is linked to the 4I's principle that we lawyers like so much is basically that they will also validate each other and challenge each other. So if one of the models says like, okay, this is a high risk, the other model might disagree with that and they will challenge each other and then a third model will validate the output for you. Guaranteeing the quality, and also fun fact, one model alone is very hard to find information that is missing from a document. So if an IP transfer is not in the document, for example, you would need multi-models to collaborate on that because otherwise the one model would say, okay, it's not there, it doesn't pose a risk. So here we go. In the meantime, I have a check that has been created by the chats, which is amazing. So here you will see the title is EU Pay Transparency Directive Readiness. It's an HR-related check. Perfect, that's what we asked for. And then you will see here the description and the question, and you will see the golden standard that was generated. A golden standard means a no risk qualification. What is a high risk, what is a medium risk, and what is a low risk in this case. And the scope is set to all HR related documents, being the employment agreements more specifically. It's very easy. As you will see, we have a generate button here. So if you would like to simplify or make the scope of the description or question more broad, you can totally do that. So you can basically try to erase certain sentences, and then you can click the regenerate button and you have a new question and check that you can apply. There we go. So the next thing that I would like to showcase is the collaborative features in our platform. So here we are in the individual document viewer, and as you will see, you can analyze your documents right here. And there's multiple ways in the platform to collaborate. So one of these is you can simply put a comment here, and I can tag my colleague to double check whether or not there is an HR specific question. And Jos, in this case, is my HR specialist, so I can ask him for his advice and to confirm my thinking, yes or no. Another thing that we do is, for example, here, you will see that we have a risk here. So I have marked this as a high risk. You will automatically be redirected to that specific risk. And there is a post-closing recommendation related to that. Then I can assign this to my HR specialist colleague, Joost. There we go. He is now assigned to that recommendation. And I have my follow-up tasks here. You will see that here, post-closing recommendation, Joost is responsible to take that up, to include that in the SPA or to do anything else with that. And once Joost is done with that, because he's a fast worker, he can mark it as done, and I will get notified that he has taken up the task and has done everything with it. Then as a last point, yes.
Sorry to interrupt.
No worries.
We have 3 questions.
Yeah.
So if you want to maybe quickly wrap and we can answer those questions, or maybe take them now.
Perfect. Perfect. I will showcase 2 things and then I'm all ears, if that's okay. Perfect. So the last thing I wanted to showcase is our report, fully customizable again. So you can basically choose from the presets or create your own template. And also here, you can overrule you can change your risk level. So as a senior, you can review the work of your colleagues here, and you can go back to the document and add recommendations. So fully interactive. I'm all ears.
Fantastic. Yes. Well, we have a question from Craig indicating that yes, you had skipped connectors in the demo, but can you connect into existing solutions like TR and HiQ?
Yeah, so we do have an integration with HiQ already. So you can find all our current integrations also on our website. So emea.legal, you will find all current VDRs that we connect with. But I think there's about 10 of them right now and working on more to come. So absolutely, we find that very important to be part of the ecosystem.
And next question from Stephanie, which models do you use?
So as I explained a bit before, we use multi-model approach. So we use Gemini, OpenAI, and Anthropic, of course. And we basically try to see like which model is best designed to do which task in EMEA. And also our CTO has a PhD in AI, so he will always validate whether the new models are indeed smarter for legal due diligence, yes or no. So we track that regularly.
Fantastic. And then we have 2 questions from Giles very quickly. Yeah. First question, can you also do live translations of documents?
Yeah, we can, and I can very quickly show you if the time will allow it. Otherwise,
very close on time.
Tell me. Yeah, that's what I thought. So I just quickly want to show you here in the documents, we have a live translation button in the end. So here you will see that it automatically translates to your output language. So this one was in French, and now you see the English version.
And then last question, with how many colleagues can I collaborate, and what is the pricing?
Yeah. So we have an unlimited collaborative feature. That means that you can invite up as many people as you want. We do stimulate collaboration in the platform, and the pricing model is per document. So per document that you upload into the platform. No other hidden subscription fees, just the number of documents that you consume.
Fantastic. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much
much.
for your presentation today. Any other questions, we can direct them to Emma.
Absolutely.
The next presenter is Saga, and presenting that will be Mark. And just to a reminder, please leave a few minutes at the end for Q&A. Over to you, Mark.
Yes, thanks a lot. My name is Mark. I'm a legal engineer and adoption manager at Saga. I used to practice law before I joined last year of August, and I'll be showing you around our platform today. A little bit about Saga. We are a Norwegian Dutch founded company, but operating worldwide. So now in, I think it's 24 countries worldwide, trusted by more than 500 legal teams. With Saga, we focus a lot on the adoption. So we are a general purpose legal AI platform. That means whether you're drafting agreements, doing transactions, or working in litigation, we try to support all practice groups and all kinds of legal works. We have 3 pillars within Saga. Our platform, I will show you in a minute, but we also have our Amplify department, which focuses a lot on the adoption. So we have colleagues working there with a background in change management or psychology. And we have, for example, an extensive adoption program that we provide. And we have our Saga Lab, which includes former lawyers, former legal experts. And with the Saga Lab, we create a lot of custom content for our customers. So we actually create workflows, create prompts. So we really help you with implementing the platform. And we create a lot of content that we just share on the platform that's easily accessible to everybody. We really think the adoption is a very important part of working with AI. We think the tool is only as good as the people using it. So that's why we focus a lot on the adoption. And I'll show you around our platform. We have 3 different functionalities in Saga. We have the web-based platform, we have an Outlook add-in, and we have a Word add-in. I'll do a short tour of all 3. And today I want to focus on our project functionality. So in our project functionality, you can collaborate with your colleagues. As you can see here, it's very easy to upload documents in a project knowledge base of a certain matter. You can upload until 1,000 or even 2,000 documents per project. And here it's very easy to collaborate, and you can access all Saga functionality within the same project. Our projects are smart, which means they learn. So we have a project memory that remembers facts, for example, from a certain case. So you don't have to add that context every time again. We are an agnostic platform, which means we support multiple large language models. So you can choose which large language model you want to use per task. You can set a default one, or you can use our auto mode, which selects the right model for the right task. And that means if you have a light task, so to say, rewrite an email, it will use a light model. But if you do a more thorough analysis, it will use a heavier model. Let's say we invited some colleagues here. We upload some documents. You can do that through multiple integrations that we have, for example, SharePoint integration, and you uploaded it here. Saga recognizes folder structure. So if you upload a folder with a lot of subfolders, it will automatically generate these subfolders and put the files in the right folders here. So it gives you a lot of control on what to use per question. Inviting colleagues is very easy, by the way. So let's say now we want to get to work. The prompting is still a very important part of working with AI. So let's say I want to now create a summary and a timeline, which is of course not a very good prompt. So we have a prompt improver that you can use to add some extra context to your prompt. So it will be a little bit better. But if you want to be a bit more thorough, we also have a prompt library, which you can use to select prompts on multiple levels. So part of that adoption is also that you're able to not only collaborate in a project, but you're also able to easily integrate and share your own knowledge in the platform. And we do that in multiple ways with Saga. So first of all, we have libraries. We have a prompt library, we have workflow libraries, assistant libraries, and grid review libraries. I'll show you them in a bit. and they're all built up from the same levels. So you have your personal prompts, you have organizational prompts, which you can share with your whole environment, with your whole organization. And from the Saga lab, we push a lot of prompts that we think are useful. So we create these prompts, and these are accessible for everybody. For example, creating a timeline, analyzing certain agreements, etc. You can create 2 different kinds of output in the chat. A very important part of working with AI is verifying the output, and that's why we support citations. So all factual claims that Saga makes will be supported by citations. The other alternative is to enable the drafting window, which will draft a new file for you, for example, an agreement or something that you can download as a PDF or a Word file. Seeing the time restraint, I already ran a prompt here to show you. So let's say we ask Saga to create a legally relevant summary of 500 words and a thorough timeline with all relevant legal milestones. You can see here that all the factual statements are substantiated by citations. So you can see here the initial contract price was 1.24 million, increased. Click on it and it will open the relevant document in my project and highlight in yellow where it based the information on. So it's very easy to check the output that Saga is generating. A very important part of working with AI, because you always need to check the output. So let's say we want to continue now. We're working in the same project. Let's say we want to draft a settlement agreement. We're missing a lot of context for that. So Saga, or AI in general, does not know what our settlement agreements look like. It doesn't have the right information. So an example would be when we receive an email with a mail string that contains a mail string on the settlement agreement, we can easily access Saga in Outlook, save this mail thread through a project. I'll skip the thinking part for now because that's quicker. So what we can do now is simply add, and you can also add attachments to a project. So what you can see here is that email is now loading into our project database. It's interconnected, so everything is very easily transferable from Outlook to your projects or to Word. And now let's say we want to draft a first draft of a settlement agreement. We may say the settlement agreement based on the closing checklist. We can enable our drafting window, but Saga doesn't know automatically how we draft our settlement agreement. So by using the add sign, it's very easy to add certain knowledge that you integrated in the platform. So let's see here, I have a different project which contains some example documents, which may be a settlement agreement template or a memo template or some emails. And even other projects, all different functionality, you can very easily access these templates. So let's say now, let's say use settlement agreement as a template. So we can now select that template here and ask Saga to actually draft something new for us. So it's very easy to combine your own knowledge, your own examples, your own know-how with the power of these AI models. And at the same time, everything is connected with, for example, your Word or your Outlook add-in. As you can see here, is now drafting something. You can style your own documents from an admin panel, which I'll show you in a bit. So it's very easy to set, for example, your font, your listings, your headings, etc. This we can download, for example, as a Word file or a PDF file, or add to a project. So it's very easy to include your own knowledge, which is also a very important part of the adoption, to make sure that the output is not only correct, but it's also personalized and the way that you want it. Another thing I want to show you is adding your own knowledge is one way of doing it. You can also add, of course, some legal sources. If you want to look for some relevant case law, for example, we support a lot of legal sources here that you can enable per question. And we support internal sources. So what I'm showing you now is a project, but you can also create organization-wide internal sources, which you can, for example, include playbooks or standards or some firm-wide know-how. Everything is private here. So even if you're working in a project, you're still able to do your own work there until you share it with the rest of your colleagues. Furthermore, if you work more in a transaction business, we also have a specific tool for that. So let's see here, we have a lot of agreements that we want to review at the same time. We have a grid review functionality for that, which means you're not getting one answer, but you're actually checking a row of a lot of columns against all these agreements. So you can see here, these grid reviews are also in a library. So you can make this on an organizational level. So make sure that if you, once you make them, it's easy to recycle them, so to say. And here you can see we're checking all these agreements on parties and capacity, contract purpose, terms and maneuver, termination rights, etc. May take a bit longer to load. So regarding the time, I already ran one, but you can see here what the result looks like. And important to mention here that it's very easy to share this with your colleagues, to collaborate in it, to check the output in a very easy way, just like in a chat. We have different modes here. So if you want to filter, for example, or on a date or contract value, it's very easy to standardize that by using these modes. And you can download it to an Excel file. And you can use this as raw data in the next step. I'll show you the workflows later on, but you can use this as one of the steps in the workflow. And then, for example, ask some follow-up questions about the results. So furthermore, we support legal research. So if you want to search some sources and add them to a project as knowledge, it's very easy to do that through here. We have a translation functionality, and you can combine all the things I just mentioned in what we call workflows. So let's say I have some commercial agreements I want to review. I want to perform a grid review, but I also want to draft a report right after. These are different functionalities within the Saga platform that you can use. So if you click on it here, you can see this is a canvas of one of our workflows, uploading some commercial agreements, reviewing them using a grid review, and then drafting a report with our drafting tool. You can manually make these workflows, or you can use our workflow builder to build them very quickly. And this will run in an automatic sequence. So you don't have to, you can build in human in the loops. So you can build in some verification steps, but you can also run it automatically. So as you can see here, this is the workflow that we ran. And you can also ask Saga to create a workflow. So let's say here, I just want Saga to create a workflow where it is, where I can upload some commercial agreements. It will do due diligence and draft it. It will automatically build this workflow for us, and we can save it or fine tune it further on. One of the cool steps we have in the workflows is our code interpreter. So you can actually create visuals or an interactive overview of your case file. So let's say here, we want to analyze a case that we got. We can upload the case file. Saga will then create an overview, but we're also able to create an interactive overview. So if you want to explain something very technical, for example, to some colleagues, or you're in-house counsel and you need to explain a case you're working on to the business, you're able to generate an overview of that, which you can actually use as an interactive overview, including drop-down menus. You can see what people are involved, for example, a tabular view, etc. So you can make some pretty cool stuff using that. A big part of the adoption is measuring how Saga is being used within your firm. So we can use the admin panel for that. In the admin panel, you can include some document styling. So you can include your own firm styling here. You can set up your connections through MCP servers. We're fully supporting MCP servers. So if you use any other application or point solution that also supports MCP, it's very easy to set it up and connect it. Furthermore, you can manage your libraries here. So your prompts, your grid reviews, your workflows, your assistants, which I'll show in a bit. And you can also have some usage metrics that you can use here. Let's say you want to work in Word directly and you want to review an agreement. We also support a Word add-in. So what you can see here is that we opened an NDA in Word. Saga is very easily accessible here. And it's good to understand that everything here is connected. So your own internal knowledge sources are very easily accessible here. Your own knowledge bases from your projects, your own prompt library, but also, for example, an assistant. So in this case, we have an NDA review assistant, which has my own playbook as a knowledge base, as a document, but it also has some textual instructions. So we ask that assistant to review the agreement from a receiving party perspective. And what Saga will do now is suggest some track changes. So it's very easy to work in an existing document here. And we can apply these track changes, for example, as a track change or as a track change with a comment. And Saga will now amend the agreement and even add a comment here.
We've got a quick question if you have time for that, Mark.
Yeah, I'm done with this. Done with showing the platform. So now we have some time for some
Fantastic.
questions.
We have a question from Steven.
One more small thing. I'm sorry.
Okay.
If you're interested, we also offer a free of charge pilot for 4 weeks with your full firm. You can test out full functionality. So if you're interested in that, you can scan one of these QR codes.
The question is from Stephen. Can I integrate my legal research subscriptions into my Saga workflows?
Yeah, it depends a bit on where you are. We do have a lot of legal sources we offer. So it depends on, for example, if they support MCP. It depends a bit on the legal subscription you have. But
Right.
we can set up a call maybe, or if he can ask what specific sources these are, I can give a more precise answer.
Yeah, if you can take that offline with Stephen, we'll forward his details to you. And then quickly with a question from Grace. How integrated is Saga with various indigenous legal systems and case laws of other jurisdictions? I think specifically referring to the different African countries.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we have these sources yet in African countries. We have a very a big list of sources we do provide, and we're really flexible. We have some parties we work with that are able to add new sources very quickly. So if there are any sources that are specifically requested, we're usually able to integrate these legal sources within a week or two.
Fantastic. Thank you. We have to move swiftly along, Mark. Appreciate your presentation, and we will connect anyone with Saga. If you just send us a message, we can connect you. So next
Thanks a lot,
up,
Alex.
you're very welcome. Next up, we have Harvey, and Eamon will be presenting for Harvey, and over to you.
Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm just going to take a quick moment to share my screen. I hope that's all right.
Not quite seeing it yet.
Apologies, I'm just trying to work that out. I seem to be having an issue making that work.
The share button is in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah, I found it, but there seems to be a security and privacy setting potentially on my back end that's preventing me from doing that. Apologies about this.
If we're unable to resolve it, we can swap you with the next one. I'll give you another minute.
Thank you. That would be fantastic. I'm going to try and rejoin the Teams another way and test it out in the back end, if that's all right.
So you want to swap with Litera, yeah?
If that's okay, yeah. Thank you.
Absolutely. Do we have Russell in the waiting room?
Yes, I'm here.
Fantastic, Russell. Russell is from Litera. He will be demonstrating Foundation 365. So over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Can everybody see my screen?
Yep, all good.
Cool. Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. My name is Russell Bell. and I'm a solution sales executive at Litera. For those of you that don't know us, Litera are a legal platform provider. We unify the practice and business of law on one legal AI agent. And to frame this short demonstration, I'm going to talk about the area that I look after, which is what we call our growth tech solutions. And so we see that there's an efficiency conundrum in the legal industry right now. AI and automation are saving real time, and that's great. Work that used to take 10 hours can now be done in 1, which is great for productivity. But in a traditional billing model, where do those 9 hours of revenue go? The firms that are getting this right aren't just chasing efficiencies. They're reinvesting that time into what we now call proactive business development, and making sure that their people are in front of the right clients at the right time. And that's what I want to show you today. So for today's short session, I'm going to demonstrate our proactive relationship management solution, which is powered by Postalize, which is fully integrated into our legal CRM Foundation 365. Okay, so I'm now in the web view of Foundation 365, and in my sitemap on the left-hand side, I've got this area here called signals. So let me explain what signals are. Signals are a collection of news articles that relate to your clients and prospects. Now, what's important to note is that this is not every single piece of news. Powered by AI, it's only displaying news articles that are relevant to a law firm. This is news that could indicate potential legal work in the future. So, for example, if a company hires a new director of corporate development, that would be a signal that they might be about to embark on some M&A activity. So in summary, what signals are doing, they're giving your lawyers a reason to pick up the phone proactively, to start the conversation, to start building the relationships now, so that when that legal work materializes, your firm will be at the front of the queue. So in signals, in this area here now, I'll just close that navigation, but I can review the whole list. Okay, and you can see there's an awful lot in here. What I can also do is apply some filters. So I can filter on, say, the last 7 days. Let me just clear that filter that I previously put in. So I can filter on the last 7 days. I could filter on our practice areas. So let's say I'm interested in corporate and M&A. I can also scroll down, filter on a particular industry. So let's take technology as an industry there. I can filter on specific event types. So let's say I'm particularly interested in acquisitions. I can click on that. And I can also focus on location. So let's say I'm based in the United States or UK, and I can click on one of those areas here. And what that's given me now is a filtered list of, let's say, news articles that relate to my clients with those particular filters applied. Now I can, if I wanted to, just simply search. If I'm interested for a particular company, OpenAI is a good one, an awful lot of news happening with them, and I can filter on the company name, and it will show me a list of all the signals now that relate specifically to that company. Let's scroll down and have a look and find one. Okay, so let's choose this one here. So OpenAI and Cerebras. That's an acquisition. It was added 5 days ago, and you can see it relates to corporate and M&A. Now, what this is also showing me here is the relevant departments where there could be potential legal work. So if I highlight this area here, you can see that there are, with this type of news, it could be that our antitrust and competition department reach out. It could be tax structuring, technology transactions, employment and benefits integration, data privacy, and cybersecurity. They're all of the potential cross-selling areas that we could speak to OpenAI about. I can also see, from a credentials perspective, I can see insight that would be coming across from Litera's Foundation Experience solution, so i.e. correlation with the firm's experience, looking at geographies, industries, and practice areas. I can also see here under matters, relevant matters that essentially, similar pieces of experience that demonstrate our credentials to be able to even attempt to win this piece of work. On the each signal as well, using AI, this is where you can see the relevance. So what it's done is essentially it's translated that news feed, that news article, into why it's relevant for a law firm, and it's also suggested an action. Okay. As well as this signal, I can save it. I might want to come back to it later. I can say I'm not interested, and then it will just be removed from my feed, and I can share that to other people in my team as well. This functionality here, engage, what this allows me to do is to actually draft that engagement, and I can select the recipient, and it may be I want to tee this up for one of my colleagues. I may want to tee this up for Jeremy, and I can select their draft outreach, and that will basically suggest an email that will be teed up for Jeremy to essentially make contact with the client. But in this example here, what I actually want to do is, I believe with this one here, there's a genuine opportunity that we want to pursue, and I want to add it to our pipeline so that I can manage that through a sales opportunity. So down here, I've got a button that says create opportunity, and if I click that, let me just put in the name of the company in there. And if I hit create opportunity, what that's now doing is it's now taking the data from signals, and it's pushing that into Foundation 365, our legal ready CRM solution, as I say, in as an opportunity. Now, once it's in here, you can see that I can now start to add additional data to this particular opportunity. I can start to add activities. I can start to capture the stakeholders involved internally, externally, make note of any competition as well. So this is where I'd start to plan out my opportunity. Now, in the actual opportunity, obviously, this is going to go through a defined sales process. The Foundation 365 is a extremely flexible solution. So you can configure this particular area, and any area, to be honest, with your specific requirements. As a former consultant at Litera, I used to spend an awful lot of time working with our clients, configuring the opportunities table to have what are called type-specific stages and fields. So if I come in here and just add that this is an M&A opportunity, you'll notice now that a new tab's appeared for me to capture specific M&A information. And you may have also noticed that an additional stage came in here because for M&A opportunities, we may have to go through like an additional stage of due diligence. So that is the, as I say, the opportunity record. And we'd obviously create that and add, estimated revenues. We obviously add additional information in there as well. And what that essentially allows you to do then is to do some reporting. I can also go to look at the company. So this is what we call the account record in Foundation 365, the organization record for OpenAI. And really, as well as the signals piece, what Foundation Proactive allows you to do is also capture what's called the relationship. So if I'm looking at OpenAI here, I can see these are the people that we have a relationship with varying degrees of strength. These relationships are captured automatically, powered by what's called ERM, Enterprise Relationship Management. It's looking at information surfaced on Microsoft Graph, so that's essentially exchange activity, back and forth, calendar appointments, but it's also taking into account things like reciprocity. So if I'm emailing somebody constantly but not getting a response, that's actually going to count as a negative score. So these relationships here, as I say, are captured automatically, so we can genuinely see the who knows who within OpenAI and our firm. If I wanted to, I can also go and look at like an industry report, if you like. So if I click on technology, I can sort of see here all of the linked accounts, all the known companies that we have. I can filter that and say, show me those that are clients. I can also see all of the linked matters, the experience that we have, all of the opportunities that we have, BD plans that are in flight as well. The idea here is that if I was the head of technology, the head of that practice area, I may want to use this as my homepage every day. And with all of this information, you are able to create charts and visualizations to report on. So if I'm looking at technology as an industry, I can come in here and see our sales funnel with all of our opportunities. I can see those opportunities broken down by practice area, by practice group, and with each of those coloured stacks indicates the volume of estimated revenue within there. And I can see things like the estimated owner. Now, all of this information is configurable. You are able to change the way that these reports work. Obviously, they rely on the data being there in the first place for you to be able to create these charts and visualizations. But in summary here, as I say, what I'm showing you is just the ability to be able to take any data within the system and start to create charts and visualizations to bring it to life. Now, I realise I'm probably around about at time, so I will pause there for any questions, and rather than trying to shoehorn anything else into a short demo, I'll basically take this opportunity to say thank you and to take any questions that may have come through.
Thank you, Russell. We do have one question from Zanette. The question is Proactive available as a standalone solution?
Yes, it is. It is. It's fully embedded inside Foundation 365, our CRM solution. But there are firms that I speak to from time to time who are coming at it without having a CRM system in the first place. So Proactive is actually available standalone. That will give them the ERM. It will build that network of contacts, the relationships. There's also another element to it called Cleanse, which will allow you to allow the data to be cleansed, enriched with from other data sources such as LinkedIn, and then obviously the signals piece. So yes, it's available standalone, and quite often what we find is that if you were to go with Proactive first and then migrate over to launch a CRM project, it gives you a really nice runway to essentially have a really smooth CRM implementation, because you've got a really clean and relevant and targeted and up-to-date mailing list, or list of contacts.
Russell, I don't think we have any other questions at the moment. If we do get any questions through, or if you have any requests for people to be directly connected, we will make that connection. Absolutely. So thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you very much.
Eamon, I just wanted to check if we are good to go for your demo.
Fingers crossed. Let's have a go.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you for your grace, and also Litera for stepping in. All right, let's give it a go.
Looking promising. There we go.
Can you see my screen?
Absolutely.
Okay, fantastic. Hi, everyone. Delighted to be here. I'm Amen. I'm one of the legal engineers at Harvey. Previously, I practiced employment law, as well as spending some time advising on tech transactions and privacy at Ashurst. I also spent some time in-house on secondment at Meta, where I advised on privacy. And in a nutshell, as a legal engineer at Harvey, I work with legal teams to understand their day-to-day workflows and challenges, and explore how Harvey can help them out. So with a 10-minute demo, we're going to have a little sort of whistle-stop tour. I just want to give you a flavour of how Harvey can help you. So first things first, what is Harvey? I like to think of it as AI that went to law school and has trained with experienced lawyers. It's a versatile legal AI platform, helping teams with a range of tasks that lawyers do, like research, drafting, and analysis. And it also facilitates collaboration with clients and colleagues. So as you can see, it can do lots of things, and we don't have time to explore all of that today. So I'm just going to give you a flavour of how I would have used Harvey when I was in practice. So I want you to picture a scenario that might be familiar to some of you or your colleagues. You're an associate in a commercial team. It's Wednesday, you've had a lovely lunch and you had your afternoon planned out. You then come back from lunch, check your inbox, and you've got two new instructions. So the first one is you've been asked to help out on a due diligence exercise under fee constraints and with a relatively tight deadline. And then you've also got another request in relation to matter management and running an analysis of a WIP report against the fees that were agreed with the client. So these will hopefully feel familiar. And I think in this situation, given I had other competing priorities to work on that day as well, it would have been great to have some help in progressing those tasks. And this is where Harvey comes in. So I'm going to give you an illustration of how Harvey can be used to conduct bulk document analysis at scale and quicker. I'm also going to give you a flavor of how Harvey can be used in a non-billable setting to help with matter management, which hopefully would help improve profitability as well. And then, of course, as lawyers in law firms, the facts might change in the things that we do, and cases and transactions might be different, but the processes that we have in place or the approach that we take is often repeatable. So I'm also going to give you an illustration of how Harvey can help you automate tasks that you find yourself doing time and time again. So I'm just going to jump into the platform, and I really hope this screen sharing thing is still going to work. All right, can you still see my screen, and can you see the Harvey platform?
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. All right, so here we are. This is Harvey, and I want to take us back to that first scenario that I described, where I've just been instructed on a red flag due diligence exercise. So what would I need to do first? First off, I need to get all those contracts and understand the data that I'm working with in a way that is easily digestible. So Harvey supports that. And I would also say that even though I'm talking about these use cases specifically, Harvey is versatile and is used by lawyers across practice areas. So have a think about how some of the functionality that we're working through could be applied in your day-to-day. So jumping back to our scenario, I would get my contracts. I've already just dragged and dropped them into Harvey, so I've dumped them in here. And I'm going to ask Harvey to produce a review table. So, of course, I could give it much better instructions. For the purposes of today, I've just told it, hey, I need a red flag review of these supply contracts. I'm acting for the buyer. So I just wanted to illustrate how simple that was to get going. And now I'm going to fast forward a little bit and show you what Harvey would produce. So we've supplied these contracts, and in a matter of minutes, it's generated a review table that basically summarizes all the key terms. And in this particular scenario, and something I had in practice, for example, is that before even getting to the detailed analysis, a lot of scoping work had to be done to identify which contracts were material. And with Harvey, I was able to put in the partner's email and the instructions, the documents, and it's already assessed which of the contracts satisfy the materiality threshold and which ones I should focus my review on. I know in practice that would have taken me quite a long time and many hours in order to get to this stage. Now, you might be thinking, and I think this is a pertinent question across Gen AI tools, is, well, okay, it's great that it's done all of this, but how can I trust its outputs? So Harvey does have safeguards in place for that, because, of course, although we can't rule out hallucinations, just like for other Gen AI tools, you can actually, every statement that is made in this review table can be traced back to its source. So if it's reporting on the term, which of course is very important in this context, I can select that and then identify where that information has been pulled from. So a junior lawyer doing this work would be able to verify that, or a senior reviewing as well would be able to do a check of the lawyer's work. So great. So we have got this review table. We have an idea of the material contracts, but our work doesn't stop there. As a next step, I'd like Harvey to help me draft a due diligence report. And as law firms, we often have precedents, maybe style guides, as well as templates that we want our output and client output to follow. And in Harvey, you're able to do that. So I could simply add the style guide and any precedents to Harvey. And I'm simply just going to ask it to generate a red flag due diligence report. That you've pulled together in this review in scope contracts. Please can you prepare a red flag DD reporting our firm style and
we've lost your audio. I can just barely hear you. Sorry.
Can you now?
That's better. Something just happened.
Okay. I was basically just using the dictation function on Harvey, which I've realized seems to bug with Teams. So I just narrated my prompt into Harvey, and I think that's why you couldn't hear me. So I was just telling Harvey that I wanted a red flag DD report. I just dictated it for ease because I prefer to work that way, and it'll get going. So now I'm going to fast forward to what the output would look like. And as you can see, it's generated a first pass DD report that I can continue editing with Harvey's help. I can also open it up in Word if you prefer to work that way. And I think just taking a step back, what this really helps with is, for me anyway, as a human, I do much better when I'm not working off a blank page, and being able to have Harvey work in the background while I'm working on other things that afternoon to help speed up the process and give me that first pass would have been invaluable. This might not be sort of, the most unique use case in the world. But what I really wanted to illustrate here is that, law firms do a lot of DD. That is, part and parcel of many law firms' business model. And Harvey can really add value in those high volume day-to-day use cases. And now you might also be thinking, well, it's great that it worked for this transaction, but we run a lot of DDs. Will our associates have to provide lots of information and context from scratch to Harvey every single time? And the good answer is no. So we have what we call these little workflow agents. I like to think of them as like little dedicated assistants or robots that live in Harvey, to whom I can basically assign very specific tasks and processes and tailor them. So based on the example that I just gave you, I generated an assistant that is dedicated to conducting red flag due diligence. And so next time when I get an email like that, I'm able to just dump in the email, any relevant precedents that I'd like Harvey to draw on, as well as the latest data room documents, and ask Harvey to get going without guiding it through every single step that I just worked through. So that was scenario one. We've dealt with email number one that I would have received that afternoon. And now I suspect I have limited time. I can't quite see the chat function to check, but I'm just going to jump in really briefly into the second scenario, which is that we have a ton of matter management work to do. It can be fiddly, it can take time, and Harvey is also able to help you get to that sooner than you would have, or speed up the process. So I know when I was in practice managing fees and reviewing WIP reports against agreed fee scopes with a client was a core part of matter management, as well as client relationship management. And so I effectively just asked Harvey to help me with that. I uploaded the engagement letter and the WIP report. I would ordinarily use the dictation function, but given it's clashing with Teams, I won't do that right now. And I'm just going to copy and paste a prompt. I'm basically just asking Harvey to compare the WIP against the agreed scope with the client, give me a status update, and also identify where we're overrunning on fees. So Harvey's going to get to work on that, and I just wanted to show you what the output would look like. So it generates this beautiful dashboard, which immediately helps me visualize how we're tracking with fees. It's also broken down where some of the overrun is happening as well, to facilitate like conversations with those teams, for example, and also managing budget and client conversation. And I just really like the fact that it's visual. I remember doing this a lot with just Excel and email. So yeah, I would have loved to have had this feature. So I'm going to take a break there and just say that, yeah, I've given you just a flavor of what Harvey can do, but I just scratched the surface. So if you would like to find out more, I'm going to pop our QR code on the screen, and feel free to scan it or visit harvey.ai, where you can schedule a demo call with us. Thank you.
We do have a couple of questions from the audience. Why is Harvey better than the underlying foundation AI models is one question.
Sure. Should I take them one by one?
Please.
Yeah, sure. So
brief
Harvey,
response, but yes.
Yeah, sure. So Harvey is a domain-specific tool for legal and professional services. And the way we built it, we have an orchestration layer that basically would identify which model of the foundation models would be the best at the specific task that the lawyer is working on. And we also have bells and whistles, you know, like citations, integrations with knowledge sources and research sources, and beyond the product features that we're constantly innovating on to make them relevant to lawyers and law firms. We also provide a white glove service in terms of that enablement and adoption support once Harvey is trialed and beyond by firms.
Wonderful. And then can you elaborate on how I can trust Harvey's outputs?
Sure. I think I touched on some of it during the demo, but in short, we take accuracy and trust seriously. We know how important that is to lawyers. I know how important that is, having been a lawyer. So even though we do take it seriously, and we've got legal researchers in our engineering team who are working on the development of the product as well. Obviously, AI is not perfect. Gen AI is not perfect. I don't know if there is a tool out there that doesn't hallucinate, and so we build in safeguards to mitigate that, like the citations and citation function that I showed you earlier to help with that audit trail as well.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for your time. If any questions, any further questions do come up, we will forward them to you and make any introductions for any of the delegates who wish to speak to you directly. Thank you so much for your time. Before we move on to the next speaker, just a quick little plug for any of you who will be making your way over to ILTACon in a couple of weeks' time. Wanted to remind you to visit many of the vendors actually that presented today will be there, as well as Legaltech Hub. We will be at booth 247. So there's a link that you'll have in the chat with more information there. So next we'll be moving on to iManage, and just checking that James is with us and ready to present.
Hi, Alex, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Hello and welcome, and it's over to you, sir.
Excellent. Thanks very much for having me today, everyone, and for your time. So what we're going to take a look at is the iManage Next-Gen platform. And what iManage does is much more than provide you with a document management system to store your files and emails related to your clients and matters. It really goes beyond that and goes to that tagline you see in the bottom right corner there about how you can leverage the platform to make that knowledge for you. When we take a look at understanding, AI is everywhere, and is being offered as a standalone solution or as part of your existing or potential new solutions that you are looking to adopt. The question we have to ask ourselves, though, is whose knowledge is it drawing on? Who's allowed to see the answers that are being produced? And where does that data live once it's been processed by AI? And the iManage platform is very much grounded in your firm's matters, and it always respects the ethical walls that are automatically applied to those matters. So today we're going to take a look at the platform and how you can leverage the AI services that are embedded in that platform to accelerate work, reduce manual effort, how it then also enhances your search capabilities looking for particular files and or emails related to your clients and matters, and how it can also be effectively used as a part of your AI ecosystem, whether you're looking to also leverage external tools that can also query the AI, or sorry, query the data that is in iManage, leveraging the MCP connector that we do support. So what I want to do now is jump into the product and take you through a quick scenario of how you can leverage the platform for you. Just go ahead and bring up my screen here. So those of you that are familiar with iManage, maybe you're a current user or you're an existing user, have used it in the past, the first thing you'll see with the next-gen platform is just the overall look and feel. It's really been designed for the personalization to surface in what is important to me. What are the key things I want to quickly access when I access iManage? And so from here, I have a number of widgets that are available to me, but also what I can look to do is personalize that to myself. I can click here, I can drag and drop these widgets around. I can add in additional widgets if need be, just to sort of surface again, what is going to be important to me. When we want to take a look at exploring into, let's say, for example, this recent matter, when I open up that matter workspace, what I'll be able to do is I can go ahead and quickly browse the files and content that are in that workspace, whether they be emails or related files, jump into those documents and emails. Or what I can also look to do is leverage some of the AI services that are embedded in the platform to give me an overview. When I click on this overview, you'll see what happens here is that those services are going to take a look at all of those files and emails within that matter and create a story, an evolution, if you will, of that matter. So giving me, in the case here, information as to things like the parties that are related to this, and then providing those citations to as where this evidence lives within those particular files. So I click on that and it brings me right to where we can see the list of parties that are available. Now, if I want to further review this story, going down, we can start taking a look at getting into financial terms and surface up that information. But also notice when I click on that citation, I'm brought up that subsequent file, but I'm not being bounced around. I'm not having multiple windows pop up. I have all that within just one browsing experience, all brought to me. Now, when we have this particular file that we're taking a look at, this term sheet, what we can then look to do is further leverage the functionality in the platform to start asking questions about this file. So I can click on my Ask button over here, and when doing so, I can drop in a question like, what are the conditions that need to be satisfied for this particular facility A? I can go ahead and click on Send, and what it's going to do is it's going to route that question within where I'm actually currently looking. So within this matter, but also particularly within this particular document. And so from that, I can then look to then, review that summary, ask any other additional summaries or questions in relation to that particular file. Now, if I was thinking, maybe I want to pivot on understanding what the share purchase agreement document looks like. What I can do then is go ahead and ask and prompt that and say, let's go ahead and get the share purchase agreement document. You can drop that in, ask that question. And again, we can see the context is in relation to this particular matter. And what it's going to do is it's going to go and find that file, first off, if I have access to it. And then secondly, if there is, it's going to go a step further, and it's going to provide me with a summary of information in relation to this share purchase agreement file. So when that is all processed, I'll be able to review that summary, or I can jump directly into the file as well and start reviewing or potentially working further on that particular file. So after that is complete, and we can also then see here is that the platform is always going to give you context of where it found particular information or what it's doing, and for you to understand how it came to that particular conclusion as to what this summary particularly looked like, and there again just providing you the information of how it produced and got where it got that information from. So here that summary is being generated, and then from there I can start to review that information, taking a look at the purchase price, any other sort of escrow retentions, et cetera, et cetera. But we can further look to do with the features within the platform is with the share purchase agreement, what I can do is I can run this against the playbook. And what that playbook will allow me to do is, based upon the type of playbook, effectively run a set of rules against it. So I can click on the playbook action button here. I can take a look at the particular playbook that I would like to run against this one. And in this case, it's going to be an asset purchase agreement playbook. And when I bring that up, I'll be able to see the rules that are going to be run against this particular file. Effectively, what do we see as acceptable or fallback positions? And I can open up those rules to have a further understanding about them. I can pivot back and I can review each one. In this case here, with regards to warranty and indemnity, I can also then be provided what are our standard positions or fallback positions as well. Now, what I can then do is go ahead and run that playbook against that share purchase agreement, and it's going to give me a set of results and a summary around what it found in relation to each rule. So with regards to the first rule, the representations and warranties, I can expand that out, and then it provides me with that summary. It does provide includes a comprehensive seller warranties covering this shares and properties. And I can then click on the citations to bring me to the evidence where it found that within that particular file and review that information. I can then scroll down to see where where the file or where this agreement is failing against our rules. I can review that information. Again, we can see here the liability cap at 20%. It's below the acceptable minimum. I can click on that citation and then be brought again to where that evidence lives within that particular file. So from there, oops, sorry, Windows. From there, what I can then look to then do is, if I want to start working on this file, I can easily do so. I can launch into a co-authoring session to open up that file within Microsoft Word. And when I do so, I can also still leverage the iManage functionality. We very much like to meet you where you're working, whether that's in Outlook or in Word, as we see here. And when I click on that iManage button, I've got my ability to go ahead and do similar activity that I can do just directly back from the platform itself. So from here, what I can do is I can potentially look to, I'll go ahead and provide a quick overview. Do I want to get a chronological timeline of key dates and events? Maybe I want to run that playbook again directly from Word itself. Or you can also leverage question lists. And question lists can be anything. Every time we're working with a particular document, ask these questions. And just to show you a quick example here, those question lists, in this case here, we have an English version document, but my question list my questions are actually in Greek. And when the AI services are running, it's going to be able to translate those Greek questions in relation to the English file, or if vice versa. If it was if the file was in Greek and your questions are in English, you'll be able to ask those questions and pull out those and get those responses for you. So I'll go ahead and close this down. We're going to go ahead and jump back into the platform, cover off a few other key functionality bits for you. Close that down. Now, right now, we've been very much focused on, looking, directly into this matter. You can very much utilize that strong search functionality when you want to search across all of the clients and matters that you do have access to. So I can go up to my top search bar here, and let's say I want to take a look at some master service agreements. I can click on that, and I'm now doing, again, a search across all of the clients and matters that only I have access to. From here, I can take a look and drill down. I can see this document here, and I can see it has 2 versions. And what I can quickly do is take a look at those versions. And if I want to do a comparison, I can click on the first one. I want to run a comparison against that first version that we do have. I can click on that compare button. It's loaded up version 2 here. Click on with the compare to version 1, and then I can run my compare. Now, what it's first going to be doing is doing that red line analysis. And when running that red line analysis, it's then going to go a step further, again, utilizing some of those automated AI services to provide you with a summary of, where did it find these, the red lines, the differences, but also in relation to, what is that in relation to this particular file? What kind of change is that? What kind of impact might that be? And I can then navigate those red lines with that additional context that's provided to me. And then from there, continue to look and understand what are those key changes that have been provided to this particular file. So after it's done analyzing both files, I can expand my view here, and I can then utilize that summary for me. So where did we find a change? This is a title change. It's administrative. It's a low impact. Again, administrative changes. We've got clarification that's being provided in relation to the agreement overview, the summary of the change, and the impact that it does provide. If we pivot back then and want to just go ahead and take a look at, let's close this down here, the results that we have done. If we want to run another playbook against these particular files, we can easily do so. Those playbooks support multiple files to be utilized to be analyzed at once. I can click on my playbook here. I can go back and pick the correct playbook I would like to use. In this here, I've got my MSA playbook. And just to call out as well, these playbooks can be set up and created to be available at the organizational, or I can create my very own ones that are just visible to me. So I'm going to pivot back to those organizational ones. I'm going to run that MSA playbook against that, and I can run them against the playbook against, and for this example, the 3 files at once. I'll go ahead and run that, and then I'll get my set of results that I can then sift through and understand, where we may be hitting or failing on each one of these MSAs. Now, lastly, what I'll do for the demonstration today is just in this scenario of, okay, we've taken a look at, looking at a particular matter or taking a look at running a search across the entire content that I have access to. Let's say you have that scenario where you've got a meeting coming up and you want to understand some information about that. In this case here, it's in relation to this this claim that we're representing a number of individuals making a claim against a flight cancellation. You can sift through all of the content if you wish to pull out what you're looking for, but you can always leverage that search functionality, go beyond just keyword searching and say, well, actually, let's go ahead and get let's go ahead and start a new search against this. This is just showing me my previous searching that I've been done. If I can leave it there if I want to. If not, I can just clear it away. And I would just want to have a quick summary. What has happened in the last 10 days in relation to this? I can click on send, and it's going to scan the files and the emails that are in there and provide me a summary and some key files that I thinks that it would be relevant for me to prepare for that upcoming meeting that I want to do. Now, if at any point I get distracted or I need to get onto something else, I can always pivot away from this. This search is not going away. I can always access that from my notifications bar. It'll notify me when it's done processing all of the information within that matter. I can always navigate back to my search screen, take a look at previous conversations that I've had with the data that I have access to. And when it does complete, that it'll produce a summary like this. Here's some recent developments in relation to this matter. Here's some follow-up information and some files that you can look to review. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. I'll just jump back, put up as everyone has been doing so. Q&A, if you have any quick questions, if you want to learn more or book a demo, the QR code is there. And if there's any questions, and then I'm happy to address.
Thanks a lot, Russell. I'm just checking the Q&A now. I don't see any questions at this very second. If any questions do come up, we will obviously forward those to you, as well as any introductions that our delegates wish to be made.
Wonderful.
And
thank you.
I appreciate your time today, and we'll be moving on to the next presentation. Thank you very much.
Okay. Great. Thanks, everyone. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.
So before we move on to the next presentation, I just wanted again to do a little plug for the next EMEA demo dozen in collaboration with Afriwise, which will be for corporate legal teams. That will be on September the 2nd. We'll be putting that in the chat, so you can register there in the chat. And our next presentation is from Clio. And do we have Dylan in the room?
Hi, yes, I'm here.
Hi, welcome, and it's over to you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Dylan Sabasco. I'm a legal architect at Clio. Before this, I spent about 6.5 years practicing corporate law. So I come at this as a lawyer, similar to most of you. And today I'm going to show you Vincent, which is Clio's legal AI platform. So I will go ahead and share my screen. Okay. All right, so this is Vincent by Clio. It is verified legal intelligence built for large law firms and legal teams. Lawyers can use Vincent to help with a number of different legal workflows. Here's just a couple of examples, both litigation and transactional. You see document review, drafting, legal research. And the big differentiator with Vincent is that everything it produces is grounded in primary authority that you can trace and verify. So it's not a black box and it's not a guess. And what I mean by this is that Vincent sits on top of the Clio library. We're currently rebranding, but it's the Clio library, and it's over here if I click on this. It is our own proprietary content library and one of the world's largest legal databases. It has over 1 billion documents. As you can see here, this is just some of the content we have. Case law, statutes, regulations, secondary sources, and it also spans across 110 different countries. So when Vincent over here, the AI platform, answers a legal question, it is citing into this library over here, that content library. And every citation is clickable, traceable, and verifiable. So that is fundamentally different from a general purpose LLM, which is generating an answer from a training set with no source that you can go back and check. So again, this is the type of stuff that you can put in front of a partner or clients. It's grounded in precedent, not predictions, and it's not trained on your data. And then to be precise about scope. So the library itself, which I just showed you, spans over 110 different countries, but Vincent's AI platform, the part that actually runs the research, the drafting workflows, this works natively across 19 of those jurisdictions today, including the UK, Ireland, France, Spain, Italy, Portugal, and the EU itself. Most recently, we also added Canada with full case law and legislative coverage across the common law provinces and territories. Just 2 more quick things about Vincent before I show you some workflows. First, agentic mode. Basically, instead of one prompt and one answer, you give Vincent a goal and it plans and executes a multi-step workflow on its own. I'll show you this in just a moment. And then second is this web sources toggle function. So for the rare moment that something falls outside of our library's coverage, so some form of legal research, Vincent can also supplement with live web search, and it will tell you plainly when it's doing so. It's also engineered only to pull from court sources, court websites, agency or quasi-judicial agency websites, law firms, financial advisors, so trusted sources, which is key. Definitely no Reddit, Wikipedia, nothing of that nature. But let's go ahead and jump in and I will show you how we can use Vincent for legal research. So I'm going to go ahead and ask this well, I want to ask this question. The statutory notice period is required for employment under employment law, but we are actually going to go to compare jurisdictions so that I can show you how you can do multi-jurisdictional research. So here I'm going to ask this question from France, Ireland, and then we also want England and Wales. So I'm going to get United Kingdom. There's also the option to do England and Wales, Scotland and Northern Ireland. I'm just going to do all three. I'm going to go ahead and press submit. And I've preloaded these in the interest of time. I'll just give this one more moment. Okay, so as you can see, Vincent is starting to ask this question under 3 separate jurisdictions. It is activating its legal research. And here we have it broken out into the 3 separate jurisdictions. We have an overview of each. So Vincent is currently answering this question for France, Ireland, and the United Kingdom. And if you want to click on one of these to expand them, I'll just go ahead and show you guys the finished output. So if you want to click on any of these to expand them, you can. For each country, you're going to have a full answer. But the key that I want to point out is that you're also going to have this legal authorities panel on the right-hand side. This is a list of the content that Vincent pulled from the library to form its response. So it shows you how Vincent and that library, which I showed you earlier, are integrated. So lawyers, when you're asking Vincent research questions, have the ability to review these legal authorities from the library within Vincent. You can scroll through and review, but you can also click on any of these and it will take you to the actual document in the library. So here we've clicked on this document. This is the French code up here. We have the full text of it. I can also view, I'm viewing the translated version because my translation settings are set this way. My default is in English, so I can view the language. I can view this code in its original version. I can view it translated into English for me because it's automatically done so per my settings. And I can also view the parallel text, so the French against the English side by side, which is really helpful. Lawyers can switch, can go through and do that for all of the legal authorities listed. And when you're ready or when you're finished doing your search, you can go back to the answer. And from here, Vincent has answered our question for again, France, Ireland, and the UK. Once you're done viewing the legal authorities, you can come back here and again, view the entire answer. We're going to look at France first. There is not one single statutory notice period because there isn't one French employment notice law. Private sector employees get a flat 1 month or 2 month rule. Public sector contracts agents have an 8-day, 1 month, 2 month schedule. And for French Polynesia, the actual duration is deferred to local instruments entirely. So the key is that Vincent didn't average those into one wrong number. It sorted out which regime actually applies and gave me 3 correctly separated. So all of the cases, statutes, everything that Vincent pulled from the library to form the answer are cited here throughout, which is key for lawyers because with Vincent, the lawyer, again, has the ability to verify the information it provides, unlike a lot of AI tools. So I'm scrolling through here as I describe, and as you can see, this is a pretty decent legal research memo style answer that Vincent has produced just at the first pass. Lawyers have the ability to copy and paste. We can even ask Vincent to turn this into a memo, which I'll do in just a moment. But I want to say that Vincent does the same thing for Ireland, as you can see, as well as the United Kingdom. For each one, you can view the legal authorities, the entire pane, go through, review these from the library, review the entire answer here, or just focus on the short response. But at the very bottom here, we have this comparative analysis that Vincent created without me even having to ask. This is just a really easy to read visual comparison of each of the jurisdictions. We already looked at France. If we scroll down to Great Britain, we see that there's a clean statutory scale, 1 week's notice once you've been employed for a month, up to 2 years service. After that, 1 week for every year of service, capped at 12 weeks once you hit 12 years. Then we look at Ireland. Ireland is the same shape, but different numbers with that scale. 1 week under 2 years, 2 weeks from 2 to 5, 4 weeks from 5 to 10, 6 weeks from 10 to 15, 8 weeks at 15 plus. And then it even at the very bottom splits out Northern Ireland separately because it runs on its own parallel instrument. A distinction that a general chatbot very well likely could miss. So here is our answer. Again, I can ask Vincent from here to turn this into a memo. And while it works on this, I will go ahead and show you another way we can use Vincent really quickly. So we just showed Vincent for legal research. I'm going to start a new conversation over here. And now I'm going to show you how to upload documents kind of in this default prompt box. You can upload any document or number of documents here, and Vincent will detect them and give you suggested prompts before you even say anything. But let's just say for this one, we're going to pretend that we are working on a deal, on an acquisition of a company. We're buy side. We sent out a draft of a purchase agreement, and we just got seller's draft back. So we have 2 drafts of the same document. You could do this for any commercial agreement. You could also do this for anything that's not a commercial agreement. You can upload pleadings, complaints, anything right here into this default prompt box, which I just did. And Vincent is going to do for any documents, what it's doing now, which is analyzing the files. And down here, it's going to suggest specific tasks, again, without me really giving it any input. So let's see what Vincent comes up with, and I'll give it a moment. Okay, great. So it suggested a couple basic tasks like identify client hostile language, any inconsistencies, check the definitions, but then it also gets into a little bit more complex things like negotiation strategy, compare the drafts, review and confirm key economics. So I think this is a really cool feature of Vincent. It gives you these selected tasks. You can select one, multiple of them, or you can select none of them and kind of have it do your own thing, which we're going to do. I'm going to ask Vincent to compare these drafts and build out an issues list, comparing basically the substantive changes between the 2 of them. I'm going to give it this context that we're buy side, and I'm going to go ahead and hit go. And again, this is preloaded, so I'm going to go ahead and switch to the output over here. So from here, this is the output. It pops up in LegalPad. LegalPad is the drafting space within Vincent. So I can come here and I can delete anything. I can change something. PE company is our client, the buyer. But here we have this ranked issues list. So basically Vincent has pulled both drafts, run the comparison, and handed back this ranked issues list. It's not just these sections changed, but it includes what changed, why it matters, and where the risk allocation shifted. So we have them again ranked by significance. We have the section, we have the seller change, the buyer impact, and then even the recommended buyer position. We also, again, have links back to the source in the document. So where in the purchase agreement this change was made. So again, we have this entire issues list, and you can do this with any commercial agreement. And then we also have, Vincent, without me asking, it flagged internal consistencies and conforming edits within the draft, a recommended negotiation sequence, and it even gave us a completion checklist, what to do with seller's draft and what we need to do from the buy side perspective before we send it back out the door from seller. So here's just 2 workflows. We did cross-border research and document comparison. Oh, let's go back and check on our memo actually really quickly. I think we might have a minute to do that. Wonderful. So this is our memo that came up from our multi-jurisdictional research, the notice periods for employment termination in France, Ireland, and the UK. Again, I can edit anything and say this is from Dylan. I can mess with the formatting. I can either download this into Word, a PDF. I can copy and paste this into an email for the client. But we also have that comparative summary included in our memo, which is really helpful because it has those citations with the hyperlinks, again, really helpful for lawyers. And then it breaks it down into the analysis for each country. From here, I also want to point out one more thing. This follow-up question box never goes away. So you saw me just use it to tell Vincent to draft a memo, but I could also tell Vincent to edit this memo in any way if I didn't feel like doing it, or I could tell it to go deeper on any of the exceptions that it identified to these statutory notice periods. Really, you can ask it to do anything in this follow-up box. But yeah, those are the two workflows I wanted to show you, both grounded in the same in the library, both citable, and then obviously both leaving the attorney in control of the final worked product and the final call. So that's Vincent. It's a legal AI platform, and I'm not sure where we're at on time, but I'm happy to answer a couple questions if we have time.
I think thank you so much. I think we are just at time. If there is a quick question, make it quick, please, in the Q&A. If there are questions that do follow on from those, obviously we will forward those to you and make any introductions for those delegates who wish to be introduced.
Okay,
just
that's
quickly
great.
checking the chat here just to see anything. No, not at this stage. So thank you so much. Really appreciate your time today. And that brings us to our co-host, Afriwise, and Stephen. Are you with us on the online?
I am. I'm with you, Alex.
Fantastic. Well,
thank you so much.
You're welcome, and over to you.
Thank you, and it's great to partner with the Legaltech Hub on this demo dozen. And to everyone, really good to be here. I think, like many other presenters, my background is also a lawyer. Although maybe a bit different. I practiced for, I think, 17, 18 years solely on the African continent. Worked as an in-country counsel in countries like Tanzania and Burundi as an international counsel and as a regional counsel. And Afriwise is really kind of the result of the experience that I had, that how hard it is to find local laws, finding the right law, whether there's been any changes, understanding the practice around that. So that's always been kind of a very hard part. And I've seen there were questions already before about access to indigenous legislation. So I think we've seen some impressive technology today. And actually, I'm very glad, Dylan, to come after you, because Clio is actually a very nice bridge to what I'm about to show you. I think you've seen with Clio what becomes possible when AI has access to serious legal content. Some of the other technologies I've showed what AI can do with your own institutional knowledge. While our obsession at Afriwise is really with solving that same problem, but then for Africa, as I just said. What I'm going to show you today is our brand new product. It is completely new, and I hope you can see my screen. We call it LexiWise, but basically what LexiWise is, I think some of you may know Afriwise, but we've been active for almost a decade, mapping and consolidating legislation, doing regulatory monitoring. And what LexiWise really does is our brand new product. It actually combines, it's an interface, it's access to our what we call our legal data warehouse across Africa. So I'm taking any country, I'm just going to kind of show you what sits in underneath. So what you will see here is that all the legislation, I'll show that to you in a second, completely consolidated, linked to the regulations and subordinates, as well as case law, both in terms of raw judgments as in terms of a propriety watch, law firm articles, our own practical guidance, academic publications, direct alerts, as I will show you in a minute, but also the Sentinel alerts, which is kind of our flagship offering in terms of regulatory monitoring. But then as well, all the regulatory materials that are available in a country, and as well as from every regulatory authority. And then obviously legislation, be it acts, bills, and then current drafts. So everything sits together. So that's really what LexiWise is about. We wanted to bring everything together into one place for all the countries in Africa, and it's working from that. We've added an agentic AI tool on that, And basically, that's working from the legal intelligence environment that we've built. So just like Clio, the AI is not going to go off on the open internet and trying to work out what the African law may be, the law in Benin or in Guinea maybe. It's actually going to base itself on the primary sources on our database. So, so the regulatory feed, as you see, that's kind of the center for every single country. I'm now in South Africa. It's the center where everything comes in, and it's chronologically, but you can obviously search it. But you can also search semantic, or you can interrogate it. So let me show. I think it's always impressive, and maybe let me go to another country for this. Let's take the DRC, a more complicated country. Well, I'm not saying South Africa is not complicated at all, but DRC is obviously one of the countries where it's started to get information. And I'm actually putting a question up on here for the DRC, which may be relevant for you, especially it's topical for everyone on this call. So imagine my firm is adopting one of these wonderful AI platforms that we've seen today. And imagine that platform is hosted in Europe. I'm a law firm in the DRC. What does that actually mean for me from a cross-border data transfer perspective? The DRC is notably, actually, since the digital code, notably complicated for that. But you basically did a natural language process. But what appears, and that's quite important, you point not just to the answer, the research, but you will see that it analyzes the question, it breaks it down, and it gives an answer in natural language, but it gives you direct access to the source. So you can verify it as a practitioner at any given time. I've actually prepared a more complicated one because obviously it may take 1 or 2 minutes for more complicated, but as an example in Namibia, as you can see, I'm in Namibia, and I actually set up a question that you may be confronted with. A private equity investor wants to acquire control, and then information about the parties and what the structure would look like. You'll see the whole thinking process, and it will actually help you as a lawyer in Namibia, but also maybe as a regional counsel, to actually kind of do the research in a more natural language way on what you need. Obviously, this does not constitute legal advice, but it is a research tool that is extremely helpful and kind of, that it's completely based on the local sources. Now, obviously what you could, there's much more to LexiWise, but I'll come back on one of the most important aspects of LexiWise, which we've touched upon. It's called MCP, but there's other aspects in LexiWise. So you can basically create semantic search monitor. So imagine I want to monitor anything that is related. I'm in Namibia, but I'm going to go through South Africa, for example, again, or Kenya, but I'm not going to monitor crypto. And that's something because it's within my practice area. It's something that is moving a lot, and I really want to monitor this. So whether I can do carbon trading, it will pick it up from a semantic perspective, and I can just either create an email alert or create a monitor. As you can see it here, I can share that with my team. I'll create a monitor, pin it to my dashboard. And so basically, it's not monitoring anymore traditionally on country and practice area. I want to know anything that happens in relation to financial law in Tanzania. Here you can really go for every single country, go and create monitors for concepts. So as you can see, this semantic. But I can create also monitors in relation to, for example, sources like this is the Financial Service Conduct Authority. Or exchange control regulations. I can filter it down to, for example, only acts or only notices that come out. So it's basically a fully monitoring source. This can help you as a lawyer as well as a lot. I think we've seen examples before, but this will help you be more proactive towards your client because you don't need to wait for the client to know before you. You can basically inform the client there has been a change and be proactive and get more work out of that. One of the other aspects that we actually built on demand, it's a workflow in demand of at the request of companies was My Legal Universe. Let me just kind of go through another country just to show that whether I go to Côte d'Ivoire, it's the same. So all the laws are in and are fully consolidated. So you can basically rest assured, and they're linked to the underlying resources. So if I go, for example, and I'm looking for the Competition Act in South Africa, I could do a search, but I know by heart where it stands now. So I will see a consolidated version of the law, which is obviously necessary for the natural language research, but you will see the entire universe sits together. Exemptions, notices, everything sits together into one place, which obviously allows us to build a knowledge graph as well. But from here, you can basically say, you can build regulatory universes for your clients. I'm going to start monitoring that, tracking. And instead of tracking a concept or regulatory authority or source, I'm going to start tracking anything that relates to the Competition Act for my clients. So it's a service that you can go and offer to your clients. And now you will see I've got the Competition Act here, together with everything, case law, guidelines, everything sits together. And I'm now alerted as soon as there's a change that relates to the Competition Act. So you can see you can work for different clients in different countries and start building this kind of automated legal universes. You can also go a step further, and as I said, this is brand new, so I just need to go. Is there chat? Is it already my time? No. I need to go. I need to go outside. But yeah, but what you can do is once you've built your legal universe, build additional workflows, and say I'm going to extract the material obligations because I'm helping my clients from a compliance perspective. And because everything is structured, I'm giving you an example. We can risk rank laws, but we can also immediately extract the material obligations out of a law. And so those are services that you can offer to your clients. So quite important for the lawyers, for law firms on the call. This is obviously a tool that is extremely useful from a legal research perspective, but we also are able to partner and build kind of bespoke platforms for your clients, which can be tailor-made based on that information and maybe some of your institutional knowledge. The other big thing I want to mention, yes, so you will have seen on LexiWise these countries. These are the countries that are currently online, but Afriwise has been building databases across much more countries, 44 countries. So as we go along, we are adding all these countries into LexiWise. I think we started with South Africa in May. We're now already at 20 countries. So we're adding 3 to 4, 5 countries a month. So quickly we'll be we'll have the indigenous coverage that you need in Africa. The other thing that I just wanted to mention that is that what you see here is an interface. It's a window towards the platform, but it's already been hinted on. We've seen Harvey, we've seen iManage, we've seen Clio, EMEA Legal. But what you can do is we've got MCPs, we've got APIs, and so that data can also be connected to some of the other software that you're using. So you not necessarily need to kind of go out of your platform. I didn't want to give a full demo, so I just did a very quick recording to show you how it would work in Copilot. So this is a Word document in Copilot. You interrogate, and again, this could be with any other of the software we've seen. We just need to integrate our MCP or plug in with those providers. And then you don't need to go out of that environment anymore. You can just ask the question when it's a local indigenous question to the LexiWise agent, and then you'll get the full information grounded, which you can then go and copy to your Word documents. I think that's where I'm going to leave it now. I think what I want to land is that we are not trying to solve every piece of software a lawyer will ever use, whether it's due diligence, whether it's time matter management, time management. That's not what we do. What we do is basically when you need to understand a local law in Africa, that's where we can provide you that trustworthy source. We've got generative AI on top of that we can either give you direct access to our interface. We can partner to make a local country interface for you and your clients, or you can connect with us through one of your existing platforms with an MCP. And I'm going to leave it there, Alex.
Wonderful. Stephen, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And if there are any questions that do come through, we'll connect those up. And that now leaves it to me. I not only am your host, but I'm also going to be presenting Legaltech Hub. Again, I will try and keep this brief, as I know you have all been here for a long time. Sorry, Glenda, I see there's a question. Do you want to just throw that in the Q&A? Sorry, Stephen, are you still there?
Yes, I am.
We do have a question from Glenda. She's asking, the legal information in many countries in Africa is fragmented. How do you make sure the information your system is relying on is current and trustworthy?
Yes. All right. Well, there's no secret sauce to it. It's hard work. We do it in different ways. We partner with law firms. We obviously we have all the gazettes. We detangle the gazettes. We work with regulators. We bring in. We crawl, but I think the most important aspect is the good old-fashioned editorial work that we do in the back end. We've got a whole team of African editors, country specialists, and they work to make sure that we're not missing a tick. And then obviously there's data science to make sure that you can consolidate laws and maintain that in a consolidated way and link it. So there's many aspects to it, but it's obviously what we stand for.
And then one more from Glenda. You mentioned that Afriwise can connect into other AI platforms through MCP or APIs. In practice, could a law firm using Claude, for example, access Afriwise data without users having to leave that environment?
Yes. So I think, as I said, whether it's any of the platforms we've seen today or whether it's one of the general AI platforms, we make an MCP available through which indeed you can use a Claude environment and interrogate through the MCP. I think Claude would even recognize that you've got an MCP. So whenever it's a question about Tanzania, it would go straight. It would use our content. You obviously need to have a subscription with Afriwise in order to do that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. As I said, you've been very patient with us throughout the day. So I'll try and keep this very, very brief. As a brief introduction, Legal Technology Hub is basically three things. We are a global legal technology directory where we track over 3,000 legal tech solutions, as well as having an online platform that sits on top of that, which is like a layer of insight, analysis, and know-how that sits on top of the directory. We also have a full events business. You're obviously experiencing one of our events now. We do in-person as well as virtual events throughout the year, including the LTH Legaltech Africa conference, which will be December 28th in Johannesburg. We also have an advisory service where we advise law firms, in-house teams, as well as vendors. But we'll start by showing you probably what we are most famous for, which is our generative AI legal tech map. I'm not expecting any of you to be able to work out what's on the screen here, but it just does show the scale of how many applications currently are using generative AI. At last count, that's about 1,200. When we started tracking it 4 quarters ago, that was 400. So we help you to make sense of this. And how we do that is starting with our directory. And our directory, in addition to tracking the solutions, has a useful taxonomy that allows you to slice and dice that information. So for example, if we were looking at documents as well as document automation, you can see we've scaled that down to 122 solutions. But let's say you also need it to integrate with an application. You can see we cover over 300 integrations, but in this case, we want to integrate with SharePoint. So I'm going to include that. And also I need that application to use generative AI LLM. So we're now down to 10 solutions from 121. And then what you can quickly do is compare those solutions side by side so that you can get what I call the opt-in, opt-out information very, very quickly. So you can see here I'm comparing 3 solutions. You can look at those side by side. And what you can see here is general information about that organization. You can see where their offices are located, what languages they cover, regions they serve, as well as information on funding. Very important when you're looking at a legal tech company, especially a startup, that they have solid funding. You can also see types of users, existing customers, and then you'll start to see things behind padlocks. And this is information that is specifically designed for our LTH premium customers, helping you really to dive a little bit deeper, looking at things like a value proposition, as well as things like data hosting locations, obviously very important, and security. So immediately you'll be able to make decisions when you're creating your shortlist by going through these quick comparisons. The other thing I wanted to highlight is the ability to annotate our actual directory. So for example, if you are interested in following a specific solution in our directory, so I'm going to choose structure flow, you immediately have the ability to categorize, is this in my portfolio? Is this something we've reviewed and not proceeded with, or something we're watching? In the case of this one, I'm going to put it in the watching. But what we allow you to do as a premium customer is then look at your portfolio and make actual notes against these. So these are items that you own. You can see you can add text here, renewal dates, etc. Items that you've reviewed as well as watching. So it gives you the ability to actually annotate our directory. So that is the directory itself. Now we move on to the LTH Premium platform. The LTH Premium platform has 3 pillars of content that support it. Solution guides, which are now 33 individual premium categories, where we provide information that helps you and guides you through the selection, analysis, and procurement process. Then we have our know-how, which is a vast library of nearly 700 articles written by us, helping you to decode legal technology. And then finally, our lawyer resources, which are resources designed to help your lawyers stay up to speed on legal tech concepts. But we'll stick with document automation. In this case, we have a subject matter expert who has written this content, but we take you through a process, starting with a landscape overview, which essentially is a foundation document. What does this technology do? What are the common use cases, benefits, as well as risk and adoption challenges? So that gives you the foundation, and then we take you through the whole process. How do these solutions compare against one another? You can see we have a grid looking specifically at feature fulfillment, maturity, and penetration. It's important to say that none of these vendors paid to be here. This is an objective analysis based on information that we have assessed regarding these solutions. The bubbles also have a representation of financial stability as well as security profile. And there's a nice objective overview of each of the solutions, so you can see how they potentially could work. And then we take you through an evaluation framework, which is questions you would ask during a demo, a requirements template, which gets into very nitty-gritty detail about specific requirements. I'm actually going to flip over into the AI legal assistant category just so you can see these same things exist in every category. So that requirement template is taking you through specific technical functionality and notes and giving you the ability to weight those against one another. And then we take you through business case template as well as a pilot guide. There are also vendor analysis documents which are based on almost like a pre-filled in RFP. I'm not going to show these now because we do have vendors on the call. These are specifically and only for our LTH premium customers. The next pillar we'll talk about very, very quickly is our know-how. As I mentioned, nearly 700 articles. These are not articles that we are just taking news releases and regurgitating them. This is actually deep analysis into legal technology concepts. As for example, we've been writing about MCP long before it became the thing du jour. There's over 25 articles on MCP. We've also looked at adoption of AI across various jurisdictions, what firms are using across, legal research, legal drafting, data extraction, etc. So this is your source to come to really unpick and understand what's going on with the legal technology ecosystem. And all of these articles can be accessed as an LTH premium customer. And then, as I mentioned, we have our lawyer resources, and these are like 101 style reads for lawyers that you can top and tail as an information or knowledge team send out to your practitioners, because they need to know about this stuff, because customers are going to be asking them questions. So we have those already written for you. There's a fantastic 5 prompting habits, costing tokens and accuracy. How often do we run against running out of tokens or not using them efficiently? So those are topics covered there. And then in addition, I already mentioned our events business as well as our advisory business. We have what are called product briefings. This is a library of product briefings, very similar to today, 10 to 15-minute demos from a variety of vendors across a huge range of solutions. This one being Allrise. I think it's a fabulous name, in the United States when the judge walks in, Allrise. I really like that. And you can see this is just taking apart what that solution is, demographics, users, and then you have a video you can watch. And we ask questions during that video like a buyer would. So that is Legaltech Hub, the platform. Obviously, we'd love to hear from you if you're interested in learning more. If there are any questions, I'll happily take those now. If there are not any questions at this stage, it just leaves me to say thank you so much for your time and attention today. I hope you found the presentations useful. If there are any vendors that you would like us to connect you to, we'll absolutely make that connection for you. And just thank you again all for your time, and good afternoon.